evening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, the podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you doing? I'm just checking my computer's muted.
Do you know what? I'm going to check mine as well. There we go.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing great for various reasons.
Okay, what are the various reasons?
Today's the day before the launch of Horizon.
Today's the day before the day.
It's like, guess what? I've got you a surprise. Well, it's not really a surprise.
Surprise! You have a surprise for tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Today's the day before Horizon Forbidden West launches, and we both are huge fans of the first game.
I'm so excited.
But I'm on the brim of exploding from the excitement that I've got. I've seen so many like little clips pop up from people. Obviously, reviews have come out, and there's glowing reviews, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a bit. But
I mean, that's my first red flag.
A red flag that media,
the critics love it.
But the clips that have come out of like how beautiful the scenery is, there's like beautiful water physics and like looking water. It just looks so great, and I'm on the edge of excitement. We were just talking about how, like, I just got the notification that the package is going to be delivered tomorrow by DPD, and you asked me, what did you ask me?
Does it come with a disc?
And it doesn't come with a disc. The Regella edition, the best version you can buy with the big tremor tusk, comes with like a steelbook, I think, but doesn't come with a disc inside. It comes with a digital code.
That's so frustrating.
What the fuck?
Also, what's the point of the steelbook?
Yeah, what is that?
Steelbook is for the...
It's not even holding anything.
that burns me up. Like, that really bugs me.
I'm a collector of like things, so I like that. I like to have the physical stuff. It burns me up. It has got like a side benefit that you get to also play the game because you can download it from your PS5
Which
as well.
I'm so excited to do.
And Sheps, you guys know from the past couple episodes, he's super excited for this game. But it means that you also don't have to buy another copy. You can just play off of my copy.
Yeah, that is a benefit.
But it is a bit of a punch to the dick after you pay however much it costs, like £100 for this edition.
To not include the £3 that is the Blu-ray disc. Because this is the thing, like, I feel like they should have given it to you and then said, by the way, if it's more convenient for you, here's the code for it to have it digitally. And like, oh, it's 2 copies of the game. No, it's the same copy of the game. Yeah. It doesn't matter. You don't need the disc. But if you want the disc, you got the disc. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you do that? It just seems like a really good thing to do, especially for the price. I feel like they've definitely got profit margins in there.
This is like the Apple thing where they're like, we're selling phones now, but we're not putting chargers in the box. It's like, okay, I buy all the shit you're saying about how, like, you know, extra plastic, everyone already has an Apple charger somewhere. I get it. But it just seems like you're cutting an unnecessary corner. You know? It's a little quality of life thing, and you're just like, nah.
Right. Exactly. It's just like, maybe you need the cable.
Maybe.
And yeah, they're cheap. You can get one on Amazon, but it's not an Apple one. And I've been bred to think about Apple quality products,
exactly,
and their cheap cables feel better to me, even though they're not.
You can get one of those awesome braided ones, but no, I need an Apple one.
I need an Apple branded one. So I mean, it's weird that people do that, but it bugs me because, like you say, you're buying £1,000 phone and they won't include a £3 cable, and I don't buy the environmental stuff. Like,
I looked at it and I was like, when they first said it, I remember watching the Apple keynote, and I was like, this is going to be controversial. Okay, I could, that point, all right, I kind of see what you're saying there. Okay, I kind of see there. But let's be honest, the real motivation was you don't have to make them and pay for it.
Anytime someone says anything like, oh, it's for the environment, it's always, there's a hypocrisy in there. Do you remember that girl, Greta, that sailed from like here to America? And they were like, oh, she didn't want to make a carbon footprint. The team that sailed with her all flew home. Which, if she'd just flown out, would have saved like 7 flights. Do you see the? And they do this in gaming, which is how it relates, I swear. And it bugs me. It freaking bugs me. It bugs the shit out of me.
Seeing as we're on the topic of Horizon Forbidden West and saving the planet, apparently There is PlayStation have done with the launch of this game. Apparently, everyone who finishes the game Horizon Forbidden West, PlayStation is going to plant a tree.
They're giving away NFTs.
They're going to give away NFTs, guys. You thought Ubisoft were the only scumbags? Well, hey, no, PlayStation scumbags too. No, they're going to plant a tree for everyone who completes the game, and they're going to track that by like trophies and stuff like that. So for every trophy earned, the final trophy, they're going to plant a tree. Decent.
I'm gonna say it like this: because of the first game, I'm gonna get up to the final boss and turn it off. Frick the planet! I want it to end sooner because garbage games like Horizon Zero Fun are made.
I was gonna say my life sucks, man. I don't want to live any longer, and you guys shouldn't live too.
Exactly.
Kill the whole world. I heard that and I was like, okay, that's a nice little thing.
I mean, cool, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really.
We've got plenty of trees at the minute.
I'm not going to say there's too many trees.
Plenty of trees.
Trees are more places for birds to hang out and then shit on your car. I don't want that.
Good point.
Yeah,
proof Sony don't care about you or your cars.
But remember, we are Sony ponies, so
never mind.
Sony saving the world.
Well done.
What has Microsoft done recently?
Right.
Sure, there you go. Greenlit season 2 of the Halo TV show before the first one comes out. Yeah,
this is a game podcast, but I would love to freaking talk about that.
We will. So what have you been up to, bro? How you been doing?
I've been alright. Applied to something secret, which I told you about, which is there's almost no chance of me getting it, but it would just be hilarious if I did, because it would just be so freaking funny.
It just relates to us and everything like that, but you're applying for this.
I applied to a thing. We'll see if that happens. Been doing a little bit of gaming.
Okay. Anything interesting?
I mean, I played Sifu. I got to Sean, and I'll be honest, I wasn't having fun before.
Oh, really?
It's just not my kind of game. It's not. It's fine. I will say maybe there's been an update, but the that backwards forwards thing is easier to pull off.
Perhaps.
But I still can't land them because the range is impossible to judge. But I can get it to happen pretty much when I want to.
This isn't boding well for Elden Ring, by the way. Not that it's a Kung Fu game, but it's going to be a hard one like that.
Yeah, and again, like I'm just keen to see what Elden Ring's about. I don't expect to love it. I'm just... I don't know. It's the first actually new game they've made in 5 ever. Yeah. So
open world and whatnot is pretty different.
Exactly. So I'm keen to see what that's about. But I didn't enjoy a second to see it. It's really good. I enjoy a lot of the storytelling. I love that little hallway scene. There's a lot of really good things in it. But for me, I wasn't having fun at any point. But it was good. It's good. But I just didn't like it. So I went back to Plague Tale, which I for some reason love. I don't know.
I didn't really believe that you would like Sifu, although I just didn't say anything, just so it's like a clear thought for you, so you can have your own opinion.
But I wanted to try it. The point was not to like it, it was to try it. And I knew what I was getting myself into. I didn't go into Sifu and go, oh, Sifu's too hard.
Yeah, right?
I went into it and went, I'm keen to see what this is about.
Rate it for me now, after your one boss that you've had and you didn't like it. Well, it's a 2 out of 10.
I'd probably give it a 7. I'd probably give it a 7.
Based on one level, though.
I got to Sean, and I did...
sorry. Who's Sean again?
Sean's the second boss.
Second boss.
Yeah. I got to Sean. I'd probably give the game a 7. I think it's a really interesting art style. They've done some interesting stuff with, I love the hallway scene. It's super iconic. If anybody's watched Old Boy and stuff like that, or Daredevil, they did a hallway scene.
That's the one that everyone knows in it when they think of it.
And so, I enjoyed that. I actually quite like the art style. I found the camera stuff a little bit janky at times. I'd get myself in a fight and sort of be expecting the camera to help me out.
Okay.
On the other hand, it's sort of, I guess, a skill set where you can be like, okay, well, I'm in this fight. I'm having trouble seeing this move. I'll move the camera angle. But I didn't vibe with it. It's hard, but I got to be honest, I didn't find it ridiculously hard. The reason I didn't continue was I wasn't vibing with it, but this is a game I could have completed. That's
the thing. There's a difference between hard and bad. It's not a bad game. Yeah. It's just hard.
Right. I liked a lot about it. Yeah. And I think one of the really interesting things about it was the art style, because of the way it looks, is so forgiving when there are visual issues. Yeah. So it's good. I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10.
What how do you feel about the whole death system? Did you figure anything out about that?
I do. I think they should have made that a bit more
explanatory.
Yeah, or maybe figured out a way to make it a bit simpler. It's not that bad. It just sort of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So like you die and age, and you can sort of come back, but then you find these little jade dragons, and then it can resets your death timer.
So Runic Firebird wrote in, and he explained it for us.
Before that, frick you, Runic Firebird. We've got a group of people
we do
to talk about the incredible superheroes over on patreon.com/conversations that make this, everything happen. They keep the lights and mics on and the gaming going over here on Conversations. YouTube.com/conversations1. We don't need the C apparently.
Exactly, I was told about that as well.
Just a pair of C's sitting here.
We are a pair of
saying every letter there, and never once thought to see what happens if we take it out.
We're fucking boomers,
We're
isn't it? We're like, it says C there, so
idiots. We're so stupid. But the thing is, Twitch doesn't have it. It's just twitch.com/conversation. So
the problem is that it's so dumb. Why would it work without it? When have you ever had any URL where you're like, I'll remove a letter and it'll be okay? Right. That doesn't make sense.
Facts.
YouTube is so weird.
Facts.
We have Diogo Dildo, Isak the Ultimate Cumsock, Sabine from Smallville, the Star Wars Encyclopedia, Adam Sunley, Jeremy Renner, that's right, an official Avenger, Super Sus Ben Fryer, the Filthy FIFA Fanatic, Joe McCormack, My Juicy Left Nut, a super sexy producer Sean, Catspud the friendly patron, the gamer from Gaming Shire, Dave Bindis, Sir Clark the 53rd, Rick the hentai dwarf, It Hurts the man who claims that One Punch Man is the best anime, and Kevin, the #1 simp.
Motherfucker.
I was going to rub my eyes because I laughed so much that I had tears, but fuck, I hit the mic. I've ruined it. I've ruined the joke of Xbox. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and everything going here at Conbrosations.
That's right.
Legends.
So what does frickin' Runic Firebird have to say?
Runic Firebird
We'll just jump straight into correcting Conversations, my favourite segment of the show. If you're new around here, sometimes we say things on the internet. It's not always correct. And if we do that this episode, you go down to the comment sections, you leave a comment. Next episode, we will read out your comment and credit you, especially if there's a timestamp. It makes things useful. Any corrections? Definitely not. We're super smart.
Not really, actually. We did a good job, actually. A lot of people with praise saying, we did a good episode and stuff like that.
Ships has great takes about Bore Eyes and Zero Fun.
A
lot of them.
Almost.
Close
to that. Close. Right. Few words different. Now we'll get to that.
So what's the explanation? Because also, just on this explanation of the aging system in Sifu, we described it on the last podcast. I can't remember who we were talking to. Gerg. We were talking to George, and we basically said, like, it's not like a one-to-one. Like, you don't age 1 year every time, or 1, 2, 3. Like, it's sort of random, and you come back a bit more powerful. You can choose to spend whatever XP you gained in the level on moves. And if you spend even more XP, sometimes you can make those like stick with you.
Yeah.
So like when you die, if you reset the whole level, you still have the move.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was a good way to summarize it. But I got to be honest, in playing the game, even though I had the concept, I didn't super get. I feel like if I loved the game, I would get it soon enough.
I think this part will clear up the part that was a bit confusing.
Yeah.
So he goes, just so you're aware, you can put this in corrections if you want, he says, Sifu's death works like this. When you die, your counter goes up by 1. So you have a death counter, right? And it goes, you start at year 20 and you become 21 when you die. Then when you die, and then when you die again, it goes up by 2. So you become 23 and so on and so forth. However, he says, certain enemies you fight can decrease your death counter, and then that changes the name, the age that you go up in. So not everyone is going to have like the same level system, because you might go in and go, okay, I've dropped down to 0, and then you only progress 1 year when you die.
Right.
So yeah, everyone's going to be a bit different.
And now it makes sense as to why you would want to decrease the death counter, because I was like, who cares? You just come back more powerful.
Yeah.
But presumably you could die like 5 times, but each time you only age 1 year, you'd be 25 and 5 times more powerful. That's good to know. I mean, I'm not going to play any more of it, probably.
It's
but
an interesting mechanic, though, isn't it? I've never seen it anywhere else personally.
And
but
this is, actually, do you know what? I might put it up to an 8 then.
Yeah,
on my
quite inventive.
Again, a game not that I didn't. It's not bad. I just didn't love it, right? And I'm playing 2 games similar. That are kind of similar, i.e. smaller indie things. I've played Sifu and a Plague Tale. I'm vibing with a Plague Tale. I'm not vibing with C2. Neither of them are my normal type of game. But Sifu's really interesting. there's a lot there, and if you enjoy like either fighting style games or roguelites, I think a lot of people would really like it, and understanding that it is pretty useful. That's a cool thing to know, and that now makes it more obvious how you could beat the game by age 29.
Yeah,
because I was not getting how you're supposed to do that.
So you die twice and it's done. You're fucked.
Yeah. Also, I will say, absolute must if you're thinking about getting the game, when you find those Jade Dragon things, absolutely get more health from killing enemies. The very first thing you do, max those 2 things out.
That's definitely the best. Yeah.
Because it stops you from dying to like random enemies here and there.
Yeah, one hit from those guys. Zakachino wrote in saying, P.S. Destiny 2 is a 4.5-year-old game, not an 8-year-old game. Actually, wait, sorry, we mentioned that in the last podcast. Sorry, my apologies.
Frick you, Zakachino. Excuse me, a.k.a. Zakachino.
And really, that was it. There was no like corrections or anything like that.
So smart.
Yeah, we're so great. This is fantastic.
We're so smart.
All right, that was all the correct conversations. Also, some people saying that the podcast was great with George. It really was a good, fun podcast. Glad you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed it as well.
A little bit of me always worries when we have, in particular, those guys on, because we end up
drag us down.
Exactly. Yeah. They're anchors around our necks. I feel like we're trying to swim with cement shoes.
Exactly.
You know? But like, it just ends up as us chatting with our mates, and I always worry that even though we have some topics and stuff to talk about, that it is just 3 bros or 4 bros catching up.
Yeah.
And less like a podcast. But they all seem to turn out pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but I am always concerned because there's less. If it was a regular guest, I'd be less worried about like talking over people, or which I'm pretty bad with anyway. But because it's our boys, like I'm happy to just jump straight in and start throwing shit backwards and forwards with Tyler, for example.
Properly, right?
Because he's literally our friend. They're all our mates. So I do always worry, but every single time we get these comments, "Oh, it was a great podcast," or sometimes it's those podcasts that have people find us, which is always, nice. Like, oh, I sort of seen you around the community, but I checked out this podcast. It was really good. I'm sticking around.
Yeah.
And they're really good fun. And I'm just impressed we managed to do it with weights like Tyler around on it and George,
It's impressive on our part.
I've just seen what you've pulled up.
Strength.
Have you seen what's in our Discord? Sean has played this and has got a bunch of...
We are going to be talking all about that. So let's kick it off with the topic of the show, which is that Cyberpunk, CDPR, have released Cyberpunk 2077's next-gen, quote-unquote, patch for everyone. 1.5, which adds the ray tracing modes to it, adds a whole bunch of bug fixes, and a few extra features to the games that we have, the game that we got 18 months ago and have been waiting ever since for. Just off the top, let me tell you the technical stuff. They've increased the performance of things. So like there's a performance mode where you can get 60 FPS, and I think it's somewhere around on PS5, 1440p. Damn it, there was a mode here. I lost the... I was looking for the performance of
it's 60 FPS, 4K, and I forgot what that bottom line was. And that's also true for the Xbox Series X, but the S is I think it's 4K but 30 FPS and no ray tracing, I believe. I don't think it has ray tracing on the S, but I could be incorrect about that.
I've got it just here. So it's dynamic 4K on both of the consoles at 60 FPS in the performance mode, and then there's a ray traced setting which drops it down to 30 FPS, 4K as close as possibly can to 4K, and you get ray traced local shadows, not ray traced reflections.
Well, then what's sort of the point of it?
That's the thing. So ray traced shadows are all well and nice.
Oh yeah, nice.
It adds very nice and realistic looking shadows.
But I'm not paying that much attention to shadows.
However, the ray traced reflections are the things that make it really pop. And like when you look in puddles and you see the neon lights going into it.
That's where you're going to spend your time in the camera mode, in it.
And it's not in this mode. And as you said, on Series X and PS5, it's identical. On Series S, there's only a 30 frames per second mode. No ray tracing at 1440p.
Did you see the tweets?
Go ahead.
So there were tweets that people put out, and normally I don't beef out stuff like this, and you're much more the fisherman for bait. But I had to, because a few of these guys had like blue ticks, which for some reason on Twitter makes their opinions matter.
Yeah.
And they were saying like the Series S uses the same CPU and processor and stuff as the Series X, which makes it basically the same.
Mm.
The architecture is going to prove just how much more powerful this architecture, which I think is actually the same family of chips that the PlayStation 5 uses for CPUs anyway, is so much more powerful than the PlayStations and way better than their SSD that it won't matter, and even the Series S will be like stomping on the PS5. I'm paraphrasing, and I just
and then that 30 FPS next gen, and there was one of these.
It's a next gen console. It's doing the same basically as the Switch.
There was one of these marketing directors for Xbox, and
That's
he was like,
what it was, yeah.
And he's like. And he put like hashtag on Series S and X. You can download this patch and you get ray tracing effects in your game. Go wild. Hashtag simply next gen. I was like 30 FPS with no ray tracing is hardly next gen. There, hardly.
Yeah.
Anyway, just a bit of fun to dig with those idiots over there.
Yeah, I just genuinely don't care if you're going Xbox or PlayStation, but if you are going Xbox, there is a right console to get.
Yeah.
You know, there's
sure.
a right console to get, which is a PS5, and then like a runner-up console, which is a Series X, and then there's the Xbox One Super Sad, Extra Lonely Plus mode.
You can be like
S.
Ben. You can be like Superwell Ben, who gets that. The thing is that
it's the hypocrisy and the how like look how much better we are.
I have something to say. I think. And this is going to make people upset. I don't personally think that this is so much the S problem. Well, I think the S is underpowered in comparison to everything else we've got.
Yeah.
And it is suffering in lots of other games and whatnot. But I think it's suffering more in Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
Because 30 FPS, 1440p, at least if you went and got me to 4K or something like that.
Or 60 FPS.
Right,
I'll take 60 FPS, 1440p. It's
like,
not bad.
what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh,
I didn't. If you said to me no ray tracing, I'd be like, cool, no problem.
I get it.
4K though, right?
I mean, Ratchet and Clank had it, but okay.
Right. But like, 4K though, right? No. So 60 FPS, no.
I honestly.
So what are you giving me? I mean, the PS4 Pro had better performance than this.
So
What is this all about?
I do. It's hard because I'm biased, so I want to just rag on the Series S, which, in fairness, I don't think it should exist. I think they should have just made more X's, and it's better for future proofing and stuff. But I also understand, especially for like more casual. If you were the most casual gamer, the S makes more sense. It's easy to get. You get on Game Pass, like that
and
model.
and whatnot, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. So there's one bit of me that wants to be like, oh, it's just not a good enough console. The other part of me wants to say that CDPR are just no good at making their games run. Or this game run on consoles. It's massively bloated. The optimization is shocking.
They do favor their PC over everything else,
And that's fair enough, and that was the same with The Witcher, but by this point in The Witcher's life cycle, it was a banging game.
Yeah.
I feel like 6 months in of a few patches, and The Witcher was working, and they were bringing out additional content because, well, the game was good. The game was good, and it just Roach would twerk on the spot and stuff. Like, you had weird things with Roach and a couple of bugs, but 18 months in, they were well done. And no, 18 months in, we were getting Heart of Stone.
So let me go into this. What was available with this? So as well as this upgraded visuals patch, there was also a couple of things that they've changed. They reworked the attribute system, saying it's a bit more intuitive now, and they've removed some stuff that nobody used and added some other different types of perks and things like that. They added the ability to use throwing knives now, which was it looked cool on screen. And it's got some cool cooldown effects and stuff like that. They changed the AI behavior of the crowd, so they more react to when shit happens now, rather than just continuing to walk when someone just gets shot. As well as that, they've added some DLC weapons. And that's oh, sorry, my apologies. They added this revolutionary new feature, never been done in a game before. The ability to progress time.
Amazing.
Didn't happen in their previous game.
Also, you could do that in this game already. I'm like 90% sure I've done that.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I did, yeah. I feel like I did.
They made a big point of it.
I know, and I feel like I did it.
I don't feel like
I feel like I absolutely did it, because there were times where there would be a quest, and it would be like, come to this thing at midnight or after sunset, and I would just hit the wait button.
I don't think there was.
That's weird, isn't it?
Because now they showed.
Do you think I had a bug that was just an extra feature, which is totally possible?
They were testing something and they put it into your game. Anyway, that feature was added, and that's pretty much it.
I was wrong, by the way.
Go on.
5 months and we got Heart of Stone.
There you go. There you go.
It released in May 2015, and Heart of Stone came out in October 2015. So
now, with those features that I mentioned, and I wanted to slag on it and say, like, you know, this is like completely awful and what they've added a few extra things in the background that they haven't told us about. They said there's some surprises as well in there, and people that have already got their hands on it have said some things like the romance options. So like if you chose like Pan Am, Judy, River, or whatever it might be, now there's a bit more interactivity with V. So like people are saying that if they pick Judy sends nudes to you over text message.
I mean,
and it's like, cool little relationship thing. Okay, all right. Adds a bit more depth to something that was pretty shallow before.
Well, so it's funny you say that, because I was going to say the only thing that stood out to me in the game were two relationships. Romance, those two romances in particular, Judy and Pan Am, and your relationship with Jackie, which is over in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Are the only two standout
for what was in this game. Do you feel like, though, personally, I don't feel like they were as good as they could have been. I feel like they were good in the moment. Like when you had the mission with Judy that I experienced, I was like, this is fucking great. But then anytime I was out in the world anywhere else, it's like that relationship didn't exist. Personally.
So I just want to really clarify what we're talking about, because I do. So turns out I'm big into the romances in games, but in like Mass Effect or like The Witcher, unless you're going through the motions of that romance, it doesn't impact the game. So in that sense, I feel like it's the same as any other. Like other than when you're in those like romanceable moments, if you don't romance or do, the game's the same. But so with that being the case, for at least that was my experience and the way I was sort of looking at it, that I do think at least the Pan Am romance is every bit as good as any other that I've played.
See, that's where maybe it was my expectations. I felt like...
Also, so did a lot of people, we had very high expectations for this game. Yeah.
But the thing is that what I was asking for, I don't think was that much of a big of an issue, where like you can have the romance option, you build that relationship, but then what is to stop Judy from calling you up and just being a girlfriend and then going, hey, what's going on? How's things going and whatnot? And then like this, sending you a nude is what people do in relationships. And then, and that's a cool little like extra little immersion thing. And then maybe she meets up for a date and you just go for a drink. There's no mission here, but you just go for a drink and it's a thing.
That's what I agree with you there.
And that's kind of what I was expecting from this game going into it. And when it wasn't there, I was like, so you guys are just doing what everyone else does and claiming that you're pioneering something here.
I mean, they do send you texts here and there. Yeah. But it's more about like referring back to like the mission that you went on. Like, hey, thanks for helping out. I'm really glad I have someone like you in my life. It's that kind of deal. Yeah. It's just, did you romance? Yes. Okay. Add this extra line of text to the text message. I would actually, the nudes, I guess, is okay, whatever. And I get why they're putting it in, because most of the sweaty PC gamers that have never played a console game have never touched any grass. So that's
Hooky.
Fine. But I'm with you. I would actually like hey, do you want to grab a coffee? I'll be at, I'm going to be heading to this place anyway. I'll be there at 11.
Yeah, and if you were to go there and check her out, then you have like a little
date that doesn't do anything for the story. You don't get any XP.
No,
it's just a cute little thing. I agree. I really would have liked something like that. That would be nice. Right. Also, did I see right? They're adding just totally jumping off from romances. They added some character customization now.
Yes, sorry, that is one thing I forgot to mention. Two things actually.
Major, because that's the point of the game.
Cyberpunk. You can augment your body. You can change it in any way you want. But by the way, you can't change your body. So they added these two new features. One is that you can go to your apartment and look in the mirror and change your appearance at any time in any way you like. So you can change your hair, you can change your makeup, you can change all the cyber scarring and stuff like that.
Really feel like you should be at a Ripper Doc for that, but okay. Yeah.
Exactly. the stuff like this you can change in the thing, and they've added a bunch of new colors and a bunch of new things, and it looked quite good and quite detailed, and I really liked that. That's a good addition. Also, they added the ability to change your apartment's look, and for the ability to purchase a couple of other apartments in Night City as well.
Yeah.
So those are really cool features, I feel like.
I definitely feel like one of my biggest problems with the game is that V is sort of soulless, meaning that with Geralt, I connected with Geralt.
Yeah.
Right, even as a character that I had no idea was an established character, never met him before.
I connected with him because we're very similar.
Of course, that's right.
As in, we all have scars all over our body.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't. But, so, like, you're made to connect with Geralt, even if you don't know him and it's the first game you're playing. And I don't feel any connection with V at all. And it's not like you can say, well, Geralt's more human or it's a more relatable thing. I'm not going around on a horse with swords fighting monsters, right? Same as V. I'm not like a futuristic gangster trying to make his way up. But
Hitman contractor type.
yeah, it felt like the dialogue and the interaction with V. I just had no investment in V. I didn't really care if he lives or dies. I don't care about the Johnny thing because I just don't care about V making it, you know?
Yeah.
And I wish they would have changed that. But it does make sense. So, like, it feels like it's a bit of character building. It makes sense for a guy like V who's trying to make his way up as... What's he called? He's like
mercenary?
Yeah, I guess he's a merc in
yeah,
City.
merc. Yeah, that's what it is. A merc, yeah.
It would make sense for him to have some bolt holes where you have all these eddies coming in and you're like, well, I'm not going to come back to the same apartment every single day. Like, if I was Spider-Man, it'd be ridiculous to be swinging in to the same window every single time in New York with everybody watching you.
No one will see. No one will see. It's like, oh, Spider-Man went in that window and he does it every day at 6.
Right.
And then he comes flying out at 9 p.m. at the cover of darkness.
Exactly. So it makes sense that you would buy like a couple more apartments and have places to go and stuff stashed if stuff goes bad. I just wish I cared about V. And it also bugs me that they've sort of phoned in the cosmetics. So yeah, okay, you can change your tattoos and stuff, but why can't I get a robo arm? Like, I can get the mantis blades and stuff, but why can't I get a Terminator hand? I should be able to do that. That would be, by the way, if the game had come out broken.
Yeah.
That would be where I would put my microtransactions.
Yeah.
You know, $3.99 for a Terminator arm.
Oh.
You know, if I was loving the game like I'm loving The Witcher, or love The Witcher, $3.99 for a Terminator arm, or for like a glowing red Terminator eye that when you put sunglasses on it glows, like something like that. Yeah, you probably could have done it.
So let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
Some people thought that maybe, and we theorized about this a bit as well, is that maybe the reason why we've waited so long is because they're going to come out with the 1.5 update with the next gen visuals, and they're going to pair it with a big content update, whether that be the next expansion or bring back some of those features that they removed or because of the PS4, etc.
Yeah.
Instead, we got customizable apartments, ability to purchase new apartments, ability to customize your character in the mirror, better controlled NPCs, a few DLC weapons. Pretty much it.
Yeah, especially like the price of those apartments, if they're anything like the price of the cars.
Oh, apparently they adjusted the economy as well. They made it a point. They were like, oh, everything's really cheap now. Now, based on that, do you, sir, feel like it was worth the wait?
Oh, absolutely not. But I think they do, because I've been seeing Cyberpunk ads. Yeah. Not a lot of them, but like on YouTube, and I spend a fair bit of time on YouTube because I don't sleep. Yeah. I must have had maybe 3 in the last couple of days. Yeah. Which must say that, and Cyberpunk I think is still in the top 10 NPD on Steam. It's still doing okay for PC. Yeah. So they seem to think it's...
The PC was the best place to play it, and there was the fewest bugs over there, and they patched the majority of the stuff. So they got the best experience.
They did.
That's why the PC gamers always saying, like, Cyberpunk is great.
Also, this is the thing. It's not, though. That's the thing that bugs me, is if the game had been flawless, absolutely flawless, I think it's still a 7 out of 10. The story's hollow. And that's all. And I'm not just ragging on it because it's cool to rag on it. It looks good. It's fun. I love the world. Their actual main story ended up as a side quest. It should have did you ever find that one guy who was like losing time and his memories were being altered? He was like having weird dreams. There's a side quest with, I think he's like trying to be the mayor of Night City. That is the real freaking story they should have pursued, but they didn't. I just don't care about V. I just don't care. And they're so far behind on their roadmap that at this point it'll be 3 years before there's any DLC, which by that point there won't be any point in them making DLC because no one will care and they'll be playing it.
I think they're in a unique position now where
they definitely are, yeah.
Not a lot of people care whether or not they do anything with Cyberpunk now. It's that little that...
So then why are they running ads?
Well, this is the thing. I feel like now they don't have to focus on anything but the next content that they're going to put out.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Because people aren't banging down their door to say, fix your stupid game, because people just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think the absence of people banging on their door has made them think like, oh, it's fine then. Everything's cool. We can just make the next content update.
There is a recency bias thing, which is that if so between The Witcher and Cyberpunk was 6 years, something like that. If the game ends up being really well cared for, and the next game comes out in 4.5 years, if when that game's coming out, people say, "Oh, wasn't Cyberpunk shit?" and they say, "No, actually, it's been doing really well. The last couple of years has been amazing. Haven't you seen all these things?" And then people go back and try it, and it is working and it is good. Then, like, people will forget.
Yeah.
And people say, and they'll have had years to work on the PR statement for, it had a bumpy start, but by the end of it, it's every bit as good as The Witcher, which would be a lie. But
yeah,
I have a question though, because I saw you playing it on the PS5. Experience?
That's untrue. So what I did was it's not untrue because I saw where you saw it on Discord, right? So
I was on the PlayStation. It said you were on.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I booted it up to see if I can, because I had some issues trying to. I had some issues trying to get the PS5 version.
I also have issues. My Ghost of Tsushima, everything got deleted. Going to the PS5
That's so
version.
weird.
It's weird.
This is you know how like on Xbox, the smart delivery system, it just gives you automatically the best version available for your system.
Yeah.
And that's really, really useful in situations where there is...
Yeah, for low IQ X bots, unlike us high IQ, wrinkly brain PS5 guys that have to go out of our way to get... I mean, it is a much better system.
It's a much better system. It's just it's really short-lived as well, because once the generation's moved on, it bears no relevance. There's no point to having it. But in this situation, it was really good. However, I did something stupid with this, because I saw the app on PS5, and I'm like, okay, how do I download the PS5 version? It still says PS4 there.
Yeah.
And I go to the store. It's not there. I don't know where to find it. I'm like, let me go into game management. There's no other versions available. I didn't know what to do. And then I put it in my disc, and then it went, download PS5 version. I was like, fuck's sake. Fucking... like, this is the small thing. Now, I will say, it wasn't as difficult as the games journalists were making it out to be. There were like almost hit pieces going out where they were like, it's really easy to do on Xbox. On PS5, however, it's the worst thing in the world.
No, that's stupid.
And I'm
like Ghost of Tsushima, if you were going to play any other game, if you were going to play the game, you put the disc in. Yeah. You know to put the disc in. But to download the update, why do you need the disc?
That's the bit that bothered me. That was the bit I was like, I was like, I should be able to. It's not like I need to authenticate downloading the patch, because at the end of the day, I need to put the disc in to play the game afterwards.
Right.
So why do I need to do it to update the game?
Yeah.
I'm sure
there are good reasons for it.
It's a reason I'm sure Sony could have figured a way around it.
I agree.
That was the dumb bit.
And I also agree that these games journalists wrote hit pieces where it's like, oh, it says in there, so it's difficult. Like, dude, if you'd have been looking to play the game, you would have put the disc in and it would have gone, oh, there's a PS5 patch. Do you want it? Yes. Or it would have just said PS5 patch added to queue. It would have just done it.
So dumb. Anyway, I downloaded the patch and I wanted to see it working. That's why it was on and it looked like I was playing it, but I didn't actually go into the game.
Okay, because I'd be curious to see what you make of it.
Well, this is the thing. I was going to say, I asked people in our Discord server and on a Patreon and wanted to ask what their experiences are, how they feel about the update and things like that. And there is a free trial available with the, PlayStation were doing those demos.
Yeah.
There is a demo for Cyberpunk if you want to download that. I'm not sure how many hours you get with it, but you can download it and play however long the demo is of Cyberpunk for free, totally free. So that's a really cool thing to try
one
out.
of our boys in the Discord, Sean
writes in, he goes, I still think there's a long way to go before Cyberpunk is good in my eyes. There's still no minigame like Gwent, no world interactivity.
Oh my god, I forgot about Gwent.
No brain dance minigame, no car customization, and a bunch of other stuff. Also, I find it weird that Cyberpunk doesn't allow you to listen to the in-game radio while walking about, which is really weird because you should be able to get like an implant of like a radio in your head.
Or crazy idea, your phone.
Right, crazy, so crazy. You have all these robotic arms, robotic eyes, and shit, but you can't listen to music while you walk about.
Yeah,
yeah. He goes, I was excited for The Witcher 3 next gen update, but I'm worried that game will release broken as well.
I am concerned now. I wasn't. If you'd have told me in 2019 you'll be concerned about a Witcher 3 update, I would have laughed in your face.
Especially because
you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea about CDPR's fine history.
Especially because Sean tried it, like you said, and in our Discord server, and a bunch of other people have been saying it's still a buggy mess.
Oh, did you see the picture he put? He went to drive and
people outside of the car.
He's got to be 10 feet above the steering wheel, outside of the car.
This is the thing. This was supposed to be the next big, this was supposed to be the soft relaunch for the game. Yeah. You had to have fixed majority of these bugs.
How many more can have been left? They've released like almost 1,000 bug fixes,
and there's still many going.
Right.
The fact that they didn't make this a polished product before doing the soft relaunch really, really calls into question the competency anymore of the people at CDPR. And I don't like saying that, by the way, because they made one of the greatest games ever that I love so much. The Witcher was fantastic. Top 5
for sure, yeah.
And I really wanted to love the Cyberpunk as well. But it does go back to the point that I made, and people hated me for saying this, that maybe The Witcher was kind of a fluke.
It does feel that way now, innit?
Because 18 months later, it's like, okay, maybe they stuffed the launch because they had all that pressure.
Yeah.
18 months later, everything will be fixed. It's still in the same state.
Because people defending CDPR said, well, The Witcher was a buggy mess when it came out. Yeah. But 5 months in, they'd released one of the finest DLCs the planet had ever seen. And then maybe a year after that, they released the finest DLC the planet we've ever seen. Yeah. Blood and Wine is the best DLC, hands down. It's just the best. So they set the bar with the game, then they set the bar with the DLC, then they set the bar again with the DLC, and that was, I think, by that point the game was working. By Blood and Wine the game was fully working, right? I'd say by Heart of Stone, I don't really remember thinking of like, oh, this boss fight would have been so much more impactful if Roach hadn't been twerking on top of the house while I was fighting. Like,
I will say my memory is quite shit, but I don't remember. When I started to really get into the game, I don't remember there being any bugs. No. So they'd fixed it quick enough that it's gone out of my memory.
There were definitely some issues, and some things were like UI stuff. So like swimming was just atrocious. There was stuff like that, but I mean, who cares? Ultimately, you're not swimming for most of it. It's really kind of disappointing, and I think you might be right. Sorry, I don't remember the point I was going to say. They are nowhere near the same company that they were when they made The Witcher. They'd lost a bit of talent when Cyberpunk was coming out from like the OG Witcher crew. But now, and I'm not saying that the people there aren't any good. What I'm saying is the people there didn't build this thing, and they do not have the track record of talent as the same guys that built The Witcher 3. Who were the team that started this thing. And my concern is if that team couldn't get this working, something somewhere may be messed up at like an engine level or like a base code level, which I don't really know what this stuff means in reality. But if they cannot get it working and they've constantly had to strip it back, like modding cars, the monorail, Mantis Wall blade running, customizable bodies, all this stuff that was supposed to be in there. There's supposed to be an entire underworld. Apparently it's there. Apparently the architecture's down there with like a sewer system and stuff, but you just can't.
I've seen videos of like the stores that are closed.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of people using hacks to like get in through walls and whatnot, and the insides are all fully textured and populated with like shoes and handbags and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's stuff in there.
Detailed stuff that you just never can see, and I believe that there's probably something down there that we just can't get to.
I suspect that there's, those doors you go into a building and there's for a quest, and if you go to the wrong door, it's like this door is locked.
Yeah.
I suspect that most of those were intended to be openable.
Yeah.
And
do you ever go on the Cyberpunk subreddit?
no,
there's a video occasionally that pops up, and it's a different video every time. Like there's people in the Cyberpunk community who have made it their mission to find every openable door in Night City and explore what's behind them.
Okay.
And every now and again they post there, like, I got super excited that I found this super rare off the path after climbing up certain things and parkouring openable door. And oftentimes it's just the doors are, it's openable, and the guy like on the mouse goes like that, and then he opens it and it's a wall behind the door.
Oh no.
And it's just like disappointment.
Because that's one thing I will say
hilarious.
Is that I'm one of those guys that not that stuff, but me, like side content's my jam. Oh, you got to get up to that roof. Well, where's the door? It's all the way around here on the map. What if I double jump up to that and then up to here? Like all of that stuff, you don't fall through it, which kind of says to me the game was intended to have levels.
Yeah,
because I've been to a bunch of the game you're not supposed to be able to get to, or you're not intended to spend any time in, and it all works. Like you can land on it. It doesn't affect running, and there's no weird bugs about it being an odd texture. So why? I just think the game was intended to be 10 times the size,
Yeah.
And it's just sad. I feel like this game should have come out in 10 years' time.
Man, if they just got rid of the previous gen.
Yeah.
At least then it would have been bigger in scope than what it is now, and part way towards the vision that they originally intended.
Yeah.
Maybe they did overshoot in their original idea.
I'm kind of okay with that. Shoot for the stars, you hit the moon.
Exactly. Yeah. But they would have landed on the moon. Whereas now, they jumped up and then landed on their face.
Yeah.
That isn't, you didn't get anything out of it,
And because it was sort of a new IP, like the first Witch game was pretty rough.
Yeah.
But if this game had come out, they would have annoyed some people because it was last gen only, but also those people that are getting next gen consoles would be buying it now. But then they could say like, the stuff wasn't really there. It was the first of its kind that we've done. Cyberpunk 2087 will be better. Then there could be another game, and we'd be looking for that. And instead, I suspect the Cyberpunk franchise, which was intended to be a trilogy or something, because a lot of these things is a one shot that they hope is forgotten, and they will go back to probably ruining The Witcher. Would be my guess.
Shit.
And I hope they don't. And maybe that's the thing though. Like, what makes these games so different? Because other than visuals, I would say not a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Like the Witcher is mostly open space with a few cities here and there, but the cities all work and there's people in them. There's cities here. Let's say the population centers here don't seem to work. There's just not really a lot there. But I'm blown away. I don't get why it doesn't work. Because it should, there's not a lot of difference.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Virgin Diogo Helper, our boy Jack, writes in. He says, "I was not super interested in Cyberpunk ever since there was no third person feature. After it turned out a mess, I just forgot about the game in the last months. In the last months, I stumbled across old trailers of the game, and just seeing how I could have nearly been fooled into getting the game again. But all I'm hearing is that the upgrade patch hasn't really fixed the issues of before, and I won't be fooled into buying a game despite of how good it looks." Yeah,
it does sort of feel like the original, the PS4 version is just you without glasses, And then this version, you can just see it all better, and it's still broken. And there's still no... Even if it all worked, the story is just a little bit hollow. The ending doesn't really matter. I'm not really attached to V. I mean...
This is the thing Hooky, good bro of ours, and when he listens to the podcast and everything, he really likes Cyberpunk. And when I was doing the tweets about like, you know, Cyberpunk doesn't seem like it changed much, like how do you feel like meh? He's like, why would you fix something that isn't broken? And I'm like, it's funny that you used that analogy on Cyberpunk 2077. Literally the most broken game that ever came out.
No, he's playing on PC.
He is playing on PC.
So it's the best experience.
But like we said, the game part of it, while it is better than some games, it's not the best. No. And that's kind of what we was expecting from CDPR. Maybe not the greatest game ever made, but it was still going to be in the high 9s.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was expecting. And I'll say as well, like, there's a bunch of like side content that's just there, and then like meaningful side content. You know, you got like main quest, side content, and there's something in the middle. You know, something that's sort of Venn diagrams with both of it.
Yeah.
Like the stuff with Kerry Eurodyne. Did you find that? Like
Things old partner.
Yeah, that should be really interesting stuff. I did a bunch of it, and it just turns out he's like got some petty beef with someone, and so you like hijack band equipment or something. It's just a bit petty and not petty. It's surface level and shallow. Now there are some deep things, like it turns out, spoiler alert, that he like is suffering from depression and stuff. But I will say, because I'm not super rich, that the problems of the multi-millionaires just don't matter to me. Oh, he's a depressed music. Oh, no.
I'm so rich, I'm so sad.
Like I just don't care if Justin Bieber's feeling super sad about his music career or whatever, right? Like you're worth hundreds of millions, and so it was a weird angle to pursue that kind of thing, and there was something there, and they explored all the wrong aspects of it. You know,
I would like to maybe Hooky, if you're willing to write in a short paragraph, let us know like what it is that you really liked about it. Because I'm not saying I'm right and you're wrong. It's just that
we don't see this the same way.
It's such a foreign concept to me. It's so far out of my understanding of how you're seeing it. But if you want to, you can feel free to write in. We'll read it out.
I do think we'd have a better view of the game if the version that we played wasn't so broken. So like,
definitely,
if this version had come out with the handful of bugs that it has now, I think I might have found them charming. Like, you go to drive and you're like up here, you're like, haha, that's so like stupid, like I can't believe this made it through, right? But because there were hundreds and there were stability issues, and did it brick consoles? It bricked a few, right?
I'm not sure. I think it might have done like PS4,
but there were concerns that because of that we have a harsher view of it. But I think at best it's a 7, and it should be an 8.5 to 9 out of 10. You know,
like I said, I was hoping for more like what's the word? Is it contextual? I'm thinking like auxiliary things happening to V that would bring immersion to the actual whole game, rather than a story that is a quest that you go on, and also there's some side quests on the side, but they're completely tangential to the main thing that don't apply whatsoever, and then the game ends.
It all develops so weirdly as well. So, like, you know the fixers that give you your missions, which, by the way, seem to have no impact on the main story at all. Nothing really leads you there. They all just sort of call you, or you're. Yeah, they all go like, you go somewhere, you go into new territory. It's like, hey V, I heard you need work. Like,
they changed one thing about that as well in there, where they you can get more gigs from the fixers, but obviously there's different grades of gigs. So if you're brand new, you can only get the low level gigs. Do a couple of those, and then you earn to be able to do more ones, so you can get more eddies and stuff like that. And I was like, that should have been in the beginning, because that makes sense. You're a brand new guy on the block. They don't trust you.
I also think as well, for the story to make a little bit more sense, so you get your first fixer who you know, right? Because you've been coming up with Jackie or whatever. So you know this one fixer. And you then get a mission because you're small time. And it's in like a different district or whatever it is. And the guy who gives you the mission, your fixer, says, hey, look, the guy that runs that district is this person. I know him. I'm making an introduction, but you need to go and make sure they know you're operating here.
Oh, this can get dicey.
Right. And yeah, because if you don't do that, then, no promises. It'll be more dangerous than normal. And see if you can do something for them to sort of put some icing on the cake. Cool. Then you get 2 districts, and then they're like, okay, well, we got a job here and a job there. I'll make some introductions, but it's up to you to make the relationships. And then when you go to like Watson, you have to make sure that one of the first things you do is go and let them know you're there. Otherwise, you don't just have like the Tiger Claws and whatever gangs that are there. You got whoever works for the Fixer as like a faction who see you as hostile because, well, you don't work for them.
Or even if you do a gig in the area and it happens to be out in a public place, the people in the area, if you're friends with the Fixer, maybe they act as backup or something like that.
Right.
It's so many possibilities, and we're not the smartest people in the world, and we're thinking of it.
Or what if, like, you go somewhere and you do a mission before you meet the Fixer and you kill a bunch of guys that work for him? Well, now you have to do a lot more to get those extra missions. You
bet your cool needs to be a lot higher in order to smooth talk this guy, otherwise shit.
Right.
Again, do you know what the biggest thing was to me that I thought I thought it's surely going to be in there and it'll be some sort of mechanic and it'll be interesting to see how it works out, was the cyber psychosis. They talk about,
oh my god,
cyber psychosis, adjusting your body modifications, and how it fucks with the fucking
it's your perception of self. And
what are the guys called? The ones that had the light in their face again?
Yeah. What are they called? Malware, no, Maelstrom.
Maelstrom, that's it. The Maelstrom guys, they talk about all the time, like, these guys are fucked up because they continually modified themselves so much that they are psychos, cyber psychosis to the max. And then you have those missions where you go and fight these people who are suffering from major cyber psychosis, and you have to, these one big enemies. With you, though, doesn't matter. You can modify every single part of your body, change everything in and out, completely fine. And it's like, you could have made that such an interesting mechanic. Like, hey V, I wouldn't recommend going for this. Maybe you should take something out and go. So maybe you should take it easy, or you've only got a certain amount of slots, certain amount of points.
Right.
Nothing.
It would have been so easy as well to make your like this in Mass Effect, which is a 15-year-old game at this point, right? Where you have like Paragon and Renegade.
Yeah.
Right? To make it where instead of Paragon and Renegade, you have like Charm, and every time you take a cyberware upgrade, it degrades it to the point we have negative charm, right? Meaning that you want to persuade somebody and they're human. Well, you've got all these mods, they don't trust you. But if it's Maelstrom, maybe you have a better chance of it because they trust you because of your mods. It's not hard to do something like that.
Such an interesting mechanic. That would be so good.
That would really work, and you should be able to modify your body. That's sort of the point of the game.
And
it should have been third person.
That should have been the thing. But and also, well, just as I was going to say, that ties into that. The ideas that we came up with that stuff isn't even like a performance impact.
Yeah, no.
It's just an extra little layer of like the RPG to it. It's so strange how that's. How was this not in the game?
And also, you could have added to either where it would affect romances, or maybe just affect romance dialogue. Like, let's say you get a bunch of upgrades, and they still make Panam and Judy romanceable. Then maybe part of the romance is the fact that like Panam's pretty handy mechanic. My mod's busted. Can you help? Like, I got this robot arm. She starts working on you. You get that like meet cute thing. Same with Judy. You're having an issue with like some of your cyberware.
Yeah.
She can debug it for you. That sort of thing.
I was thinking more that maybe Judy might be more into someone who's a bit more teched up because she's like with the whole brain.
I was just about to say.
And Panam maybe more of the human side because she's like out in the Badlands and stuff like that.
About to say
so that could be another thing. How are we thinking of all of this and you guys couldn't?
And I feel like it wouldn't have been too hard to put in where in dialogue with those two, do you have like a physical mod? Yes. +1 to Panam persuasion or whatever. -1 to Judy persuasion. Yeah. Do you have a tech thing?
Yeah.
And maybe it's not even a -1. Like, do you have a tech, a cyberware thing? Okay, +1 to Judy stuff. And then she's just more likely when you say you want to do something to go there. Or like in your phone, like we were saying, like when you're texting Judy, she says something, and then one of the options should come up in like pink with like love hearts, like ask her to coffee.
Yeah.
Hey Judy, thanks for paying my software. I'm gonna be here. There's this gig. I know Kerry. Do you want to come?
That little thing.
It's
Like
a
that.
romance. It's a freaking relationship.
And it would have promoted some like healthy kind of shit as well. Because like, not saying that all us gamers are like this, but there's this perception that gamers don't really know about relationships or girls or
Right.
how this thing's supposed to go. And if you put a decent relationship and like how you would communicate, a good relationship, you communicate with your significant other, maybe would have fucking painted us in a good light.
Right.
But didn't even put that in. And also maybe if with this whole like sending nudes and stuff like that, it might make an actual useful. Might make the fact that you chose to either have big breasts or a big dick or a small dick or a big breast something useful. Maybe you send a nude of yourself. How about that?
That is
Because now it's not in. It's totally useless.
That is a weird customization thing because I don't think it makes any difference to, like, for example, if you pick female but you give her an absolute canon,
Yeah.
you still romance Judy. Is that correct?
No. So I think actually you don't. I think
What if you're a dude and you have a? Do you see what I mean?
I think if you're a dude and you have a vagina, I know for a fact that is the Meredith Stout's preference.
Okay.
And I think that's the way it goes. That you lock yourself out of those ones, but you go for Meredith Stout. I don't
But
know
she's
who
not really romanceable. She's just someone you
she
bang.
is. Well, yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
It depends. I've only played it once, and I only went down the Judy path, so
Yeah.
that's something right there. But I hear that you can romance Meredith Stout, but I don't know how that romance
bang
goes.
her, but like in The Witcher, I banged like 5 different witches, and then ended up with Triss or Yen.
Yeah, I don't know how far it goes. It might be a very surface level thing because she's just all about business and she's probably looking for a fix, and that's it.
I don't know. It's weird. Also, that kind of bugs me a little bit because they've basically said their preference is genitals, not people.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, I get it. Like those two things are sort of hand in hand, but like at some point you have to make a decision. And they did say like these characters only this character's gay, this character's straight, that sort of thing. Well, then if you're a dude who has a vagina and you're going out with like you're going for the straight option, then maybe that cancels you out of that option because you're a dude but you don't have the right gear. Right? You should have both things correct for the thing, unless it's a specific preference like a guy with a vag for
what it is,
Meredith.
what I think it is just that they didn't build much up outside of that because in the world we live in, people have the different type of gear, people have the different type of bodies, but then they also have personalities that go with it,
right?
And they just didn't put that into it,
right?
So they gave everyone, it's like, well, now you can only go for this one, and that's the choice, that's that. It's like, but there's no like charm to it, there's no talking about it, there's no nothing.
There's no discussions.
That's
like, how would Meredith
Stout
out know what you got until you get there?
Yeah, until you get to the room, and then they say, "Oh,
so
this happens to be exactly what I like."
Right. So it's one of those things where like, we made this whole immersive world, give you all these options, but all they do is once you hit select, just completely ice out a whole road for you. It's not possible, but there's no real explanation. It doesn't really make sense. These characters, because. That's one of my complaints about Valhalla, which I didn't play, but they make the dialogue gender neutral so that whichever character you're playing, it all fits. And the problem with that is that it feels lifeless, but that means all of their romances are all romanceable regardless. Yeah. And that isn't true in real life. Yeah. In real life, people have preferences. So not only is it lazy, but what's worse than just being lazy, it makes the substance disappear. Yeah. And at least there was that. But then when you think about all the customization that you have the ability, like what's the difference in giving V a different size schlong or chest? Because especially as a first person game, in a first person game you don't even see it. Yeah. So
it wasn't even like it went so far into comical where you're like, this is the reason because you wanted to make a joke.
Yeah, you weren't slapping against his knees.
Yeah. It was just like, all right. Cool.
Right.
Our boy Mikey T wrote into our Discord server, just like you guys can, and he says, I'm interested in seeing the next gen upgrades for Cyberpunk, but it's well down the list of things to do. Lost my line here. Where it was such a mess at launch, it sort of put me off, and I've heard that there's still some issues with it, so we'll wait and see. But I can't help thinking if they just delayed it more and kept working on it, and say released it now, what the reception would have been for it.
Well, that was the problem at the time, though, is they kept delaying it. And what they should have done is said, we don't know when it will be ready. They should have said, we're having to delay the game. We don't know when it's going to be ready. And we will let you know when it's coming out. Instead, they delayed it by 6 months, and then another 6 months, and then 3 months, and we need one more month. And people got really angry.
It was all in their hands, so it's all their fault.
Yeah. People would be really angry if they delayed it to now from all those delays. If they'd have just said in like 2019, guys, it's not ready.
The mistake was the time when they brought Keanu Reeves out on stage and gave the release date. If they at least brought him out on the stage and they showed something, they were like, here's some gameplay, guys. By the way, I'm in the game. It's pretty cool, right? All right, guys, we'll see you when the game's ready. See you later. It'd be like, oh, man, we don't get a release date. Well, maybe next year we'll get the release date.
And also, I think people could tolerate one delay.
Yeah.
And that delay being, we thought we'd be ready soon.
Yeah.
We're not there. The game's coming, it's in heavy development, blah, blah, blah. When you hear about it next, it will be going gold.
This game has damaged so much in the gaming industry. This is the thing that I can't forgive it for, because prior to this, we was always saying, and we were saying but what would lead up to this game, the Miyazaki quote, don't worry, a delayed game is good eventually, but a broken game, a bad game, is bad forever. And we're like, okay, don't worry, guys, delays mean good things, because then we get a good product in the end. If we got delay, don't worry, guys, it's going to be all right.
Yeah, I mean, if they're delaying it, that means that it's going to be good when it comes out, right?
And then we got this. And now we can never trust another delay. We can never trust another developer. And it damaged the entire gaming industry.
And it damaged our perspective, because we had so many delays from this one game. Anytime a game now needs to delay, it's immediately
PTSD.
negative. But the reality is, even now, there are a bunch of issues caused by the last couple of years. There are still supply chain issues. There are still infrastructure issues. There are still chip shortages. And half of those chips do multiple roles. So, like, do you want cars or do you want computers?
Yeah.
Because either those chips are required for both, or that factory is required for both.
Yeah.
So it's like, there are still issues. And so sometimes these things get delayed. And people are still getting COVID, or the last couple of years, people are still getting it. And then they have to isolate for 10 days. And maybe they couldn't work for 5 of those.
Yeah.
And and then everybody at work has to go home and do tests and then wait for their results to come back. That takes 2 days. So there are issues. Delays would be reasonable. The problem is that the most highly anticipated game of all time was fraught with delays and then problems after release. And so anytime we hear delay, we think, it's going to be more Cyberpunk nonsense. When in reality, it's like, okay, these things happen. We are still in sort of sketchy times.
Yeah.
They're much better than a year ago. But,
Let me just double check to see if we've got any more comments. We had over on Patreon.
I think you're right, though. If it released now, it would be a much better example of it. But it would still have no real substance.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
We're
reading Patreon for the audio virgins.
Yeah. I don't think.
Oh, Alpha gave us an essay.
When did I write this? 9th of Feb. Oh wait, I've got the wrong one down here.
You freaking guy.
Which one? I'm looking at the wrong one. Here we go. I'm like, they're talking about things we mentioned in the last podcast.
Yes,
what's going on here? So strange. Okay. Jesus Christ, Alpha! What the fuck did you write?
I haven't come to that yet, by the way. So
okay, that's for a different topic right there. Don't worry about that. No. My thoughts are, this hasn't really changed much for me. I am tempted to go back to see what secret stuff they've done.
Yeah.
So they did mention on the stream, the very awkward stream, by the way, if you ever go back and watch that.
Yeah.
It's a combination of, they're not presenters, they're game developers.
Right.
And they're not native English speakers, and they're talking over Zoom, so there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
So while we are professionals and we're seasoned podcasters, they're like, one's making a joke at the inappropriate time, and then the other one's trying to talk about something serious, and the other one's trying to let me mention this thing first, and it's just all off track. This whole thing.
Yeah.
They did mention that there's some secret stuff that they're not going to mention. They're going to let people explore. And like I said, some of the stuff was those little extra relationship stuff.
Yeah, apartments and stuff.
They've added, and I'm imagining there's a lot more things in there. I want to see what those things are. I don't have the time to play it, though. There's too many games coming out, and I posted a picture online as well about how many games I want to play this year. I don't think I can ever squeeze it in. Unless I go on the subreddit and I see something that's genuinely amazing, I don't think I can go back to this
I was going to say, a bit of me was like, well, if you're going to go in and play a bit more stuff, it'd be cool for you to romance Judy and get your thoughts on it, right? No, not Judy, Pan Am. Get your thoughts on it, right? But then it's like, well, Horizon's out in a day. In a week from now is Elden Ring. We've still got Sifu, which I guess you haven't finished yet. There's what else? There's something else out next month.
The Skywalker Saga for the Lego Skywalker Saga is going to come out. I do want to play all of the original God of War games just so I can complete that all up. God of War Ragnarok is apparently supposed to be coming out this year. I've got my list.
And I honestly can't say like, oh, you should replay Cyberpunk. You know, like it just. Like I was thinking, it's a pity I didn't do this, get to like a high level save so that I had to have a high level V where I could go and be like, oh, the Judy romance is good. Okay, I'll go do that. Or the Panamas, I'll go do that. Or, oh, there's this one thing, but you need to be high level. Okay, I'll go do that. I just have no... The only thing I did was a while ago, and it doesn't require anything, was there's a Blade Runner reference, and I went and found it.
Yep.
And it was underwhelming. It's the one rooftop scene from the end of the original Blade Runner. You go there, it's there, and then you're like, okay, and you leave. You know?
That sounds very underwhelming, that does.
Might have been cool if you found it on your own, but there would be no reason to find it on your own. There's no reason to be there. You know, it's just people that are exploring.
So all in all, I don't think that this update personally changed anything for me. I've been speaking with Zacchino as well, and he feels sort of the same way. The general consensus, that's the one, of people online on my Twitter, at least, were saying that this is kind of like meh. There are some people that are interested in it, and good for them. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Yeah.
I just think that there's good games coming out, and it's not enough for me to go back into it. We said that this needed to be a proper relaunch in order to win people back.
And ideally come with DLC, like real DLC.
Exactly. Yeah. And after 18 months, it was kind of expected.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't.
I mean, they also have there's an area sort of out almost in the Badlands, which is like, it sort of looks like a pine tree on the map. It's like a series of tents and a bit of factory and stuff that you can't really do anything with. That would have been primed for like a DLC location to open up, right? And plus you already have the stuff there. You just need some missions and stuff and like a story, and boom. That could have been, now it's been 18 months. You could have had a small team working on that, and that would have been like functional. I don't know. But guys like Hooky, if you're enjoying it, like great. Like to me, I look at it when people say they enjoy it as like Minecraft. Like, great. I get that there's stuff there. I get there's stuff there that people enjoy. It's not for me. I don't care about Minecraft, and I don't care about Cyberpunk. And I wish I did, but I don't. And I'm glad you do. I'm glad you have fun with it. Like, fun games is the point.
Yeah.
But not for me. And I also couldn't recommend it. Like, if someone says to me, oh, I was going to get Minecraft, I could say, I don't get it, but it's so popular and so many people do so many different things with it. You might enjoy it. It's probably an okay buy for 15 quid or whatever. Yeah. I don't think I would say that for Cyberpunk. Certainly not a full retail price. So there you go. That's my final thoughts.
I agree. Bro.
Yes.
This right here is the True Gamer Podcast, coming to everybody's eyes and ears every Saturday here at youtube.com/Conbrosations1. That's right. Tag, boys. If you're here and you're enjoying us in video form, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for occasional notifications when we make a video. If you're listening to us on podcast services around the world, you can search for us and find us by typing in the True Gamer Podcast. If you're listening over there, feel free to to rate us over on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. You can rate us 5 stars and leave a little review and say, hey, these guys, they don't sound very good. Honestly, I don't know why they upgraded their mics, because it just only emphasized how terrible they sound. But the content's great. So, good to 5 stars right here.
And those 5-star ratings do help us out a lot.
They do help us out. It really, really does. However, if you do want to take your support that extra step further, if you want to go the extra mile, you can head over to patreon.com/Conbrosations and kick us a couple of bucks a month, just like a bunch of our true gamers have. These people support us at the $5 tier, our true gamers.
You knew it was coming!
And those people are... Adam the High Quality Potato, Jeremy Horde, Make Bindis Mod, Sheps' Krusty Right Nut, Isak Manny, Adam the Tobias Forge Sim, Clark 53, Casper Coral, Kevin Crow, Sab 2557, Rick, Joe McCormack, Random Wavelength, Billy, Diogo, Buttermilk Jesus, aka Sakachino, Sussy Imposter Amogus Moment, Batfan aka the Better Eddie Clone, Dan Dano, Fishy, The Jackal, Mikey Tilly, Alpha Aquele, Max H, Cobra SS, Sam Mason, and Albie Scory. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on and the gaming going here at Conbrosations.
That's right.
Yeah, if you want to go help us out over there, you get exclusive access to our Conbrosations podcast. Yeah. You get early access at the $5 tier to this podcast the day we record it, and all kinds of other behind-the-scenes videos and posts and polls and things like that.
Extras and stuff.
All that kind of stuff over there. And a discount for our merch store as well, things like that. So that's really cool. If, however, you don't want to kick us a couple of bucks, if you just want to be here and enjoy it for free like a bunch of freeloaders, you can do that, and we appreciate you. Everyone's appreciated here. We love you. We totally understand. And just, hit that like button, rate us, do the free stuff that helps us out right here. Thank you so much. Bro.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
A couple of other things have been going on in the world of gamming.
Yes. There's some gam news.
I wanted to talk about this actually, because it's kind of interesting, because I guess it's because it's Spider-Man. So Spider-Man is, in terms of revenue, the PS4 game, the best-selling PlayStation exclusive out there, right? Yep. First-party game is the best one out there. Second is God of War. And third is Miles Morales. Miles Morales didn't come out that long ago.
No, it didn't.
And it's already climbed to the third spot.
And relatively unknown.
And cheaper because it's a smaller game. In terms of revenue, it's beaten out every other PlayStation exclusive and hit the third spot. Yeah. Kind of mad, right?
It's pretty nuts. And it lends credence to my idea that they should go Pete Miles. And then you can get more Spider-Man games telling different stories, but you can have them running simultaneously and not have to worry so much, because there are sort of unusual things that you could do with Miles, especially because Miles is already in a Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And No Way Home, while kind of like a Spider-Verse, was like a touch on it and then they get rid of it.
Yeah.
But there's a second Spider-Verse movie coming. Like, Miles is primed for that Spider-Verse stuff. We know that's a successful model because Into the Spider-Verse was an incredibly good movie and very successful. No Way Home is primed to be one of the biggest movies ever.
Yeah.
So, like, make this game.
I wonder if they ever considered doing it your way. Because at least now it seems like a no-brainer. It seems like, especially because Insomniac just are fine with working 24/7, not sleeping.
I do think it's funny we never hear anything about crunch for Insomniac. It's because they never let up.
They never let up. It's like, it's not crunch
it's
if you never
pressure,
stop.
Yeah.
It's just the job. Because then I wonder if they ever considered it, because it seems primed for it to do, like you said, every 2 years, maybe. Every 2 years might be a bit of a stretch, but they work so hard.
A few years, let's say.
Every few years, they put out a Spider-Man game, and it's like that one.
I'd love to see a Spider-Man in the Wolverine game,
Ooh.
And then it turns out it's Miles. And that's how they pitch, by the way, there's a Miles game coming. Like a full-fledged Miles. Just do the movie.
Yeah.
Just do Into the Spider-Verse.
I thought it was quite mad. I just...
But But that's insanely
Yeah,
good.
it just shows how much people love Spider-Man, and I'm sure that's gotten exponentially higher now with the movie that came out.
One of the most
And it was a good movie as well.
one of the most popular heroes,
Yeah.
one of the most popular games made by one of the best game developers, and the games aren't successful because they're Spider-Man, just because it's Spider-Man. The game's successful because they're amazing.
Yeah.
And they're so true to Spider-Man.
Because we've had Spider-Man games before and they've not been that great. And why haven't they set the world on fire?
Right.
Because they're also made by great people, yeah.
So, I would love to see more good Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
And also there's I don't know if I'd want it, but there is scope for spin-offs. Like, there is scope for a Venom game.
Yeah.
Where you're, like, a bit more of a free agent. It's a bit more infamous, you know, where you could just go around causing havoc, or you could go around and fight the bad guys, even though you're technically not a good guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
we'll have to see how Spider-Man 2 goes, because Venom's in that. And if it ends in a way where he kind of redeems himself, like Eddie Brock and whatnot, maybe something like that, it might set up for it. You never know. That might be the idea they're going for.
Fingers crossed.
To add even more Spider-Man into the world of it and whatnot. That'd be quite cool. What else am I talking? Yeah, so a big thing that came out. So Uncharted, the movie came out.
Yeah.
This is the next topic.
Still haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it as well. Sean gave us his code that he got from buying the Uncharted Legacy Collection.
Yeah.
And I got one with mine, so we can go watch it for free.
Sick.
It's just time is a bit of shit at the moment. It didn't get good reviews on Rotten Tomato, but then again,
I don't trust them anyway.
what the fuck do they know?
I've seen a few people say
they rated Cuties at like a 90 or something like that. It's just straight paedophilia.
I've seen a bunch of people who've seen it say, yeah, I mean, it's not true to the games, but it was good fun. That's what I've seen.
That's what I've seen as well. It's like an action movie. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for Uncharted, then you're looking in the wrong place.
Right. Like, a lot of people say, you know, Tom Holland's good, but he's not Nathan. He's not very good as Nathan Drake, but he's good in this movie. Like, if he was called like Sam Jones, you'd really like it, you know. Which that probably should have been what they did. It should have been Indiana Jones 2.
This is the funny
2.0.
thing that people said online. They were like, Uncharted, like Nathan Drake is basically Indiana Jones. That's what this game is. It's a rip-off of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So when they went to make the movie, how did they mess it up? Because they've got the movies that they just needed to copy, and then that's that.
I honestly think if this movie had started with Harrison Ford in his study, and Tom Holland comes in and goes, "Hey, Grandpa, I found something," and he goes, "Well, I'm freaking 90. Go and find it yourself.
Find it yourself, bitch."
Right? Like that would have been the movie, you know.
The reason why I bring this up is because just after that, because this is the first time we can mention it, and also there's been a tweet from Variety saying that apparently there is a Bioshock film adaptation in the works at Netflix as well.
Yeah.
And combine that with the Halo TV show that's going on, and then the Uncharted movie, and everyone's doing a video game adaptation of something now. What is going on with the world?
So I think you used the wrong word there. You said adaptation. I would use cash grab.
Cash grab, that's the word. That's the word right there.
I do think for sure most of these people have run out of good ideas.
Yeah.
So they're just saying, okay, what was a good game? Let's adapt it. Which isn't like the worst thing ever. But if it's not done properly, if it's not done with respect, if they just sort of do, like we've seen for recently, there is this trend that they start something good and then it ends as Game of Thrones Season 8. You know, just they don't know how to end it. Bioshock would be a good one, though, I think. It's a good start. You know, not cyberpunk, it's steampunk. It's set in like an indeterminate time, like you never really know when it is.
Is it not an alternate history?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's this world, but it's not this world. It's not this timeline.
It doesn't have to be. Like, it feels like it's in the 30s or 40s, somewhere in there. But the tech's slightly different. But like the first game takes place in this underwater base where this guy's doing all of his own like special research. So it doesn't need to be an alternate timeline, you know?
I have no experience with Bioshock, by the way. I haven't
good.
played any of the games or anything like that.
Yeah, they're pretty alright.
I want to ask the question. So we sort of touched on this. How do you feel about all of these video game adaptations? Because we spoke about it lightly a while ago, and I came down on the side that I don't like movies per se because there's not enough time in a movie to tell the story that you get in a game. A TV show might work like The Last of Us because there's multiple hours of content there.
You are not telling Ellie and Joel's story in a 2-hour movie, even a 4-hour movie. You're not.
You're not going to get the connection. You're not going to get the downfalls,
right.
the highs.
Right.
It's just too much.
Totally agree. So I do think show is better for sure. I just am concerned, like we said, that we'll end up with season 8 of Game of Thrones for a bunch of different things, and we've seen good shows go bad.
I think the big issue is that we haven't yet seen anyone do any of them good. Granted, there aren't that many of them out there, but we haven't seen anyone do them good. The closest we've got, really, I think personally, is Sonic. But Sonic didn't have too much personality from the games, and then they injected some personality in the movie. And it was like, okay, all right, I can kind of see what's going on. But when you're going from a game that's so personality and so story heavy, how much you're going to get something wrong.
They make trash decisions. So like the Halo thing, I suspect will be a flop because they had this one thing that came out. The Halo show will follow an all-female team, and Master Chief will be like a side character, basically.
That's an odd decision.
Because...
That's an odd decision.
I don't give a shit about the all-female team. And by the way, nobody does. And no one cares, they're all female. It doesn't matter. You're fighting aliens who are all stronger than you.
Yeah.
Same with Aloy. Aloy doesn't need to be a dude to do what she's doing because it's a robot T-Rex.
Yeah.
It's
going to cream anybody.
It doesn't matter, So that's fine. But the issue is that I only care about Master Chief. And they sort of did what they did with Mad Max Fury Road. Furiosa's really the main character, and Max is like the secondary.
Oh, yeah.
So, weird decisions. Like, the most badass thing that happens in Fury Road happens off screen, where it's in the dark in that swamp, and Max goes off. You see explosions, and then he comes back covered in blood, but it's not his. That's the most badass thing that happens in the movie. Max does it, and we follow Furiosa through it. It's very weird. Not that Furiosa is a bad character, but I'm there for Max.
Yeah.
Same with this. I'm here for the Chief. I'm here for John.
This is going to be so funny because it could be I haven't played Halo 5, but this could be a Halo 5 moment where...
I feel like it might be.
They advertised it all as Chief, and then it turns out you play as Locke. Because the thumbnail for the YouTube trailers is Master Chief.
Oh, front and center.
And when you see anything Halo-related, Master Chief.
The Spartan armor, yeah.
And if you go alone, it's like, well, actually, Master Chief isn't involved in this. It's like, what? What?
Also, so for me, I'm like, a show makes perfect sense because Master Chief's a surprisingly deep character and has a very kind of tragic backstory. You won't know this. You probably don't get this from the games. You don't get this from the games. It's all from the books. Kidnapped as a child by a government agency that's off the books.
Yeah.
Put through basically SAS training without the option to pull out. Like
Great.
you're doing this and you're doing it, or the only way out is Witcher training. You die basically.
Yeah.
Then he's basically a Witcher. Then given the mutagens and stuff, and most of them don't survive, and then goes back to do more training, and then gets sent out doing secret ops initially to kill people like terrorists and stuff, and then aliens arrive. This is primed for some background history. This is primed for John to have flashbacks as a kid of what happened to him, so that we learn how Spartans are created. This is primed for us to see what he does against human beings. And then for the end of season 1 to be the Covenant arriving.
Sounds like a good setup.
Or like the last couple of episodes. That's how I would do it, so that people realise this isn't just a Terminator. Yeah. This is a deeply troubled, not troubled, but like a guy that's gone through so much hardship that wasn't chosen and still picks humanity and serving because that's who he is. And that's also one of the things that they pick out about the Spartans that make it, is that the kids all have this mindset of like, looking after each other and taking responsibility on and looking out for others before themselves. It's one of the things that's why he's selected. And he also isn't the best Spartan. He doesn't max out any stat, right? Like, there are better shots than him. There are stronger people. There are faster people. There are bigger people. But he has enough of each skill and leadership that he's the guy. You know, he isn't like Geralt in the sense that he takes to all the stuff super well. Like, he's almost aggressively a little bit above average in everything, but nothing where he stands out. But it's because he has all of those things, and because he's a leader, and because he has
no real shortfalls. He has all the good amount of everything.
Weaknesses per se, but also has this ability to like inspire confidence. That's why he is who he is.
Bro, I love the passion you've got for this, man.
They're gonna ruin it. They're gonna freaking ruin it because they want to show how like strong and brave women can be, but
as if there was someone saying like, you know, you can't be.
and also, one of the most badass characters whose name I've completely forgotten now is the daughter of the admiral. You should know this. She's the one that controls the autumn, or the dawn. I forget her name, but she's a freaking badass. And why does that work? Because she's going to use the ship and her skills to fight a much bigger enemy. Because if you're going to get into a fist fight, you don't send a team of regular humans. Forget women. You don't send regular humans. You send Spartans. That's how you do this thing, you know? Oh, they're going to mess it up. They're going to mess it up because they want to push some agenda that we all already agree. You're preaching to the choir.
Well, bruv, don't worry. There's already a season 2 that's been greenlit from Paramount Plus. Now, this is super interesting to me. I don't know if you have any insight into this, because I've never personally understood how shows get greenlit for the second show prior to anybody seeing it. I get it if there's like when it came to The Witcher, right? They did The Witcher season 1, and they went, oh, season 2's already done before it came out. But it was close enough to the launch of it that there was already advanced previews, people already giving it like glowing receptions. People were like, okay, we've got the feedback, and we know that this is going to be good, and we know that Henry is really involved in this. He's a big name.
I don't think that's how it happened. I feel like The Witcher came out,
and
then a couple weeks later, they were like, we're commissioning season 2.
I remember it being before. And I remember also season 3 doing it before as well. And I was like, this is the second time.
Season 3,
I remember it vividly, because it was one of the first times I remember it happening.
You might be right.
But regardless, it's happened now for Halo.
Yeah.
It's a video game adaptation, which is historically known to never really work out.
And The Witcher, even as a great example, has not been accepted as perfect.
Right. They've really sort of tolerated because it's got good VFX, it's got good fantasy, it's got a good cast. Most part.
It's Henry.
Exactly. And they've gone with it. With this, the reception when the trailer came out was met with tons of criticism. Why have you gone for the second one? Why have you gone for punted for the next
I feel
100 million? How much does it cost for these shows?
I feel like this is a thing of like, see how the first couple episodes do.
At least wait for the first one to come out, because the next is coming out. What is it? Next month? March is coming out. Why the hell not wait and see what happens?
Right.
And then go, all right, you know what? This was good.
That's the thing. You announce that you're going to do season 2 already 2 months before it comes out. Wait 2 months. See what the response is. Because it might be universally hated. I hope it's not. I hope it's amazing. I'm talking about everything. But why risk it? It's 2 months. It's 2 months production.
So strange.
Even if, like, from green lighting it, production doesn't start immediately. You can wait 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, it's a very odd decision.
With regards to the Uncharted movie and the cinema, our boy Dark Diogo wrote into our Discord server, just like you guys can, and he said, can we just gush over the PlayStation Productions intro? Did you see the PlayStation Productions intro? If you quickly, see if it's on YouTube. I don't know if it is there. He goes, it was so cool seeing it in cinemas. I wish it was at the start of games, because it's infinitely better than the one that we've got in games. And he also says, like, hype for Horizon Forbidden West, which is off the scales because it's coming out this Friday. Oh, yeah, they did post it. Okay, check this out. And I'll see if I can put it on screen as well.
That looks cool. That looks very good. Yeah. That looks very cool. All right, that's sick.
It's pretty good, right?
That's sick, yeah.
Now, I personally think it's a little bit too long for at the start of games because, I mean, it's like after the 10,000th time of you starting up the game, you're like, all right, I've seen it. But at the beginning of a movie, it's like 10 seconds, 12 seconds. You're not going to be going back to watch it again and again.
At the beginning of the movie, I like it. For a game, give me my OG PlayStation 1 logo with that sound effect. Give me that.
Yeah, and Isak writes in and he says, regarding movies based on games, hashtag Shep's body pillow he's got there.
Oh, God.
They can only be good if done right. If they try to replicate the games too much, like Uncharted did, they won't succeed. The movies need their own identity while also having a vague connection to the games. Whether it's making it a prequel or a sequel or an event that happens between the games, or possibly even having no connection to the games and following its own story and canon, like Tomb Raider releasing in 2018. Although not a great film, it still succeeded where Uncharted doesn't have its own identity.
Yeah,
I'm half with you there. I don't, because if it's too far detached from the game, then why does it bear the name of the game?
Yeah.
Then it's like, why do you even call it that? You could have called it anything else. I like the idea, the way you said, like prequels, sequels, or something in between.
Yeah.
I like that idea. I think that's pretty good right there.
That's sort of what I pitched for the Halo thing where, by the way, I just rewatched the trailer for the series because I watched it a while ago and I wanted to check. I don't see how you don't have the Master Chief, because you're showing Master Chief as the main character here. So
is it Master Chief though, or is it someone in the Spartan armor?
Again, I don't see why you wouldn't do the Master Chief. That it just seems silly to me. It
seems so silly.
And also, you could have early days of stuff, but I don't see how you don't have, let's say, this Spartan as your main character, and this whole idea of like an all-female thing. They made it sound like it's normal human women. That's the way it sounded to me, not like a female Spartan team. Right. Which also, there's no, like, in the Spartan lore, yeah, there are girls. There's no difference between men and women in that. But, like, they don't make all-female teams. Or they just get the best Spartans for the job.
Yeah, because it's a military thing. It's not.
You get the best guys for the job.
They don't care about what's between your legs.
Spartans are weapons.
Yeah.
Like, if you need a sniper rifle, you pick a sniper rifle, not a pistol, right? Yeah. You pick the Spartan for the job, or the team of Spartans for the job. That's how you do things. But on that note of, like, the something in between, I would love to see that whole, like, how the Spartans were made. So, like, these heroes...
Sounds interesting.
These heroes were made through gross government abuse, you know? But... now that this is here, those atrocities kind of like worth it. But are they worth it? And also, does Chief have PTSD?
Be good to explore.
I mean, I think
that's what a movie would be good for.
I mean, the games have about they say he's attributed like 10,000 kills on Covenant, you know, but that's a lot of warfare. That's a lot of comrades dying. Does he have nightmares? Probably. Does Cortana have a only net positive impact on his mental health? Because he is ultimately talking to himself a lot.
Yeah.
What happens when Cortana's removed? Does he still talk to himself? He's used to the habit.
True. And
I'm not saying to make Chief like this mental health advocate riddled with issues. I'm just saying
it comes with the military background.
He's still human.
Yeah.
You know. So
do you want to hear something that I heard that maybe might ruin this show?
Oh God! What more?
You can tell me whether or not this is a big deal, but apparently, there is going to be a Master Chief in this, and he might remove his helmet.
That's a big problem. It's a big problem. Because it's not so much a Mandalorian thing. It's just that there's that, you know that scene that you saw with Locke talking to the Arbiter? Did you call him demon as an insult? Or yeah, but also because it's like almost a compliment. If you put a face to it,
Yes.
Same with it. You know, do you remember Insidious, the movie?
Yes.
That movie was scary as shit until I saw that goat dude.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it like, okay, he's a demon, but I reckon I got a chance.
I could knock you out. I could have a shot. I'll give you a pop and see what happens. Whereas if you was this entity in the corner of the room that's in the shadows,
Right, that I can't see.
I can't touch. Well, are you even physical?
If you could reach a shadow out and drag me into the shadows,
Yeah.
I can't fight that. I can fight a goat dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's that. So
And that's what this is.
I don't think he should take. Let me rephrase it. I don't think we should see his face.
Mm.
Chief takes his helmet off a bunch of the games, so you never see his face, and that I think is the key. Also, because he's a symbol. He's Master Chief. He's not John.
Yeah.
You know, he's not known as John. By the way, they take away his name. I think his name is John, but he's only known as John 117. He's a symbol, and he should be for us as well. Like, I don't know, man. There's a bunch of stuff. Also,
Yeah.
it would be cool for them to tell a more human story about Chief, like what goes on to behind the scenes of this symbol. Like, is he struggling with anything, and then overcoming that?
Yeah.
But there is a point where you are just degrading the image, you know? So, like, in that I saw a Spartan, I presume it's a Spartan with a bunch of scars all up and down their back.
Mm.
That's great, because Spartans aren't just genetically modified. Their bones, for example, have carbon fiber around them.
Oh, shit.
It's massive surgery.
Damn.
Yeah,
How'd you survive that shit? Man.
most of them didn't.
There you go.
Most of them
I
don't.
didn't know that little fact.
Oh, yeah. So, like, outside, I think in his armor, he's over a ton.
Ooh.
And outside of his armor, he's like 350 kilos. He's a big dude. I mean, this is true of all
Probably
Spartans.
had a big breakfast.
Right, but like they have carbon fiber, bone weaves, and all sorts of stuff. And it's cool to see, like, okay, this dude, those scars are surgical, not combat, you know?
Mm.
So I will say, I didn't love the scene where he fights two elites with swords. You don't want to do that in the games.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to get into a fist fight with two elites with swords, even if you're Master Chief. So that kind of bugs me. But other than that, like, you have to keep some mystery.
This is going to be interesting because there's so many people are attached to the Halo name. That's why when the previous Halo games flopped, it hurt so much. And when Halo Infinite came out, it was met with so much discussion. Some people were loving it because it's just Halo and because it's just Microsoft and they love anything they do. And some people were going, I love Halo, and this has been changed far too much.
It's not Halo anymore, yeah.
That's why it was met with so much discussion, because it's such a valuable IP and such an IP that people have to their hearts. This was a mistake. I would not have pitched this in the room.
I
I'd
agree.
be like, nope, stay far away from it. It can only fail. It can only fail.
You're taking something well known and changing it massively, you know, and not adding to it, just changing it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the issue, I think.
Let me read about this. Virgin Diogo Helper says ESAC pretty much echoes my video game adaptations concern. They all try to be the video games too much. You essentially need a completely new story, a new adventure, while adapting the characters themselves faithfully and not just trying to fill a quota of famous one-liners, etc. They say. Tell an adventure story, then paint it in the Uncharted colors. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Honestly, in between, new story, but with the same characters, and try and be faithful to those characters, all that really needs to be asked then. Mikey writes and he goes, I think Bioshock is a great shout for a film, but Netflix, for me, doesn't have a great track record with their films, but we'll see. The potential is there for a great video game movie. It just hasn't been done yet. I just can't wait for the casting news. Chris Pratt has been cast for the voice of Big Daddies, but Sony seem to be going down the route with the IPs, with the whole PlayStation productions. So as you guys said the other week, the Destiny IP, could have a huge thing for them with the live service expertise and the IP to make the films and studios and TV shows. Sorry, that's honestly what I think the relationship is that they're going to get that and they're going to give them their expertise into making movies and TV shows. Honestly, Mikey, that's what I think it'll be.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I think most of the time movie's not the way to go. Not because the stuff doesn't fit, but because you're taking something like Halo, which has 3 games. They never made any more.
No.
Really unfortunate. And trying to fit that level of character growth and development and relationships, so in this case with Master Chief and Cortana, well, that wouldn't fit in a movie.
Yeah.
Right? Same with Ellie and Joel. It wouldn't fit in a movie.
No.
So series is probably the way to go. And that's one of the reasons that video game movies fall down, is because there's so much to do. Well, how much do you include, or how much can you include? And then some suit makes the decision that this should be inclusive for people that don't know the IP. So we'll change stuff to make it more like inclusive for people that don't know the IP.
So that's not who you're marketing to, though.
Exactly. An example, a Shazam.
Yeah.
That villain isn't a villain. That's not a real villain. They just made up a guy so they could introduce you to Shazam and then do Black Adam for the next movie.
Yeah.
Just do a real villain, so that everybody's happy, and it's a villain that has writing and makes sense. They wrote in a villain that just didn't really work. Mark Strong's brilliant. I think it's Mark Strong.
Yeah,
is brilliant, but you're trying to make a villain fit a superhero that's relatively well known, has a bunch of canon around it, and you're shoehorning a villain that doesn't exist in there.
Yeah,
like with Batman, you wouldn't make a brand new villain. You would do Joker, Riddler, Penguin. You know, you've got guys there and a blueprint of what to follow, and they're well known. Now, even if someone doesn't know Batman, they can come in and go, "Oh, this villain makes sense."
That's the thing. If they don't know the IP, this is the point that suits don't understand. Is that if people who don't know the IP, the people that you really want to get engaged with this stuff, and not the people that actually love the IP, they're not going to know the unknown villain or the known villain at all.
Exactly.
To them, it's all brand new.
Right.
The only upside is that if you do someone that is known, then the people who do know.
Right. And also, someone that comes out of the movie goes, "Wow, that was amazing. Oh, it's a comic book. Batman versus the Penguin. Oh my God, there's all this lore here."
It just feeds into itself.
Right.
So dumb. Anyway, that's all of that there. That's pretty much all the topics that we had for today. I just wanted to end on one or two things. One, if I had to ask you, bro, to clean your PS5, let's say PS4 because that's what this person has done. What would you use to clean your PS4? Let's say externally. Forget about the internal dust stuff. Externally.
Okay. Maybe a baby wipe, or like a tissues to get the dust off, or something, or like a brush and a Hoover. I mean, is this a trick question?
Not a trick question for you, because apparently there are some idiots out there this might trick. So I saw this post on Reddit of a guy who cleaned his PS4, and he used, I'll read his post out exactly. He said, "Try to clean my case of my PS4 with soap and nail polish remover, and ended up making it worse. Any help would be appreciated."
That is worse.
Nail polish remover. That stuff burns into like plastics and stuff like that.
That's how you remove superglue. If you superglue your fingers together, it's a very powerful solvent. Yeah.
Why the fuck? Well, first of all, what was on the PS4 for him to go, soap's not enough?
Right.
What's the go on the PS4? They thought maybe just a damp rag would not be enough. They thought nail polish remover. I need to get the good shit out. And look, all this. It looks painful.
It looks awful.
Like,
The other thing is, most of them were black, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's an OG PS1 that was white or grey and has since faded or yellowed. And you need to get that back. It's black.
I don't get it.
Okay, so when I was asking if this is a trick question, no, apparently it wasn't a trick question. Also, surely you go, okay, I don't know why you would use soap and water. Maybe it was like damp rag of soapy water. I choose to believe that.
Yeah.
Let it dry, see how it looks.
Yeah.
And then, hey guys, on Reddit, I just cleaned my case. It looks like this. Any advice? Or YouTube, how to get your PS4 case looking blacker or cleaner. Why would you get the nail polish remover out?
I don't understand. What website did he go to and maybe saw that someone's trolling in the comments? Like, nail polish remover is the only thing that will get dust off your PS4.
Wow.
You need to get grade A acid that burns through your
Make sure you use some
table.
nice steel wool on that, you know? Get a wire brush.
You know, get really in there.
Get the angle grinder out. Get down to that fresh layer of plastic. Yeah. Oh, God.
So we have I wanted to mention this now for preparation for next week. 2 topics that are going to be prominent on next week's episode. One, obviously, our initial thoughts on Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah.
We're going to get deep into that. So if you guys want to play the game, write a short little comment about that for the next episode.
Yeah.
Feel free to do that in there. I'm looking at you, Alpha. And also, I want to talk a little bit about Amazon and whether or not we should be worried about them. Because they released a game this week called Lost Ark, and it reached 1.3 million concurrent players in its first weekend. Put that into perspective, Halo Infinite reached 260 or something like that.
Yeah.
Concurrent players.
Oh,
So
yeah.
5 times plus more than that. And these guys are making big waves. This is their second big hit in the gaming world.
What was the other one?
A New World.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much as this, but still very impressive what they hit for their first time out.
I think they're just finding their area, right?
I think they are. And if they stick to the whole like MMO RPG on the side that we don't care about, that's fine. But I think it's only a matter of time until they they encroach on our land over here. And unfortunately, it means there's going to be another major player that could influence everything that's going on. And I don't think Amazon have the same morals as, say, like our companies over here that make good games.
You mean the good morals like Ubisoft, EA.
The good ones.
I will say, the idea of Amazon getting into games in and of itself, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, cool, they got all the research, they can see what people are buying. That's a lot of research and decision-making to inform creative decisions and stuff. They got the money.
Yeah.
What I will say is that they have more money than Microsoft.
Yeah.
And purchasing a $75 billion, they can just buy up the rest of the companies. So that is where I get worried initially. That's my knee-jerk worry, is that they go, okay, well, we'll just buy everybody that's out there because they can. If, however, it's like Amazon decide, no, we build games in-house now, then this could get really interesting.
Then it might be good.
Yeah.
Then it might be good because it's just organic stuff that they're making.
And also, it's weird because I feel like if they were to not poach, but end up acquiring a lot of really talented game developers, that's a good thing. But if they just buy game houses, when I say developers, I meant the guys coding.
Yeah.
That would be okay. But the house just purchasing like Bethesda or whatever, that's where I think we maybe have issues.
Then it will get into a proper war, and it will force the other guys to react, and then we have no third parties left.
Right.
And the final thing I wanted to mention before we go on to Alpha's massive comment, EA have revealed that apparently the reason why Battlefield 2042 failed was because of Halo Infinite.
Okay.
Halo Infinite was the reason for Battlefield 2042's failure.
Imagine coming out and saying, our game took an L. What you didn't realise is how fat that L was. This game that was dead in 4 weeks killed our game with an equal level of market share, of positioning, of the fact that it's the only real competitor to Call of Duty, and this year's Call of Duty sucked with Vanguard. The game that beat us out was Halo, which came out made by 343 in 2 separate parts, not including co-op, not including Forge, with an open world campaign.
Egregious microtransactions, a broken progression system.
That's what killed us.
That's what broke you.
Okay, DICE.
Woo, boy!
Wow.
I loved it because it was like... on top of that reason, because that's fucking great as well, because it's like Halo wasn't exactly the greatest thing in the world, and you're saying that knocked you off. On top of that, it completely shows that they're like, no, we didn't make any mistakes. We didn't have a buggy game at launch.
Our
we didn't
game was
have
fine in
all
this
of these
other
things
game.
missing from it. It wasn't just a broken game that we took apart what was a classic good game that we had before and then turned it into a meshed up piece of shit and gave it to people.
None of it works, including the old version of the game for which all we had to do was copy paste code.
Right.
But guys, don't worry. We have a legendary beanie.
When they said that, it's like, here's an update, guys. We unfortunately aren't going to do any big updates.
Oh yeah, the game's still broken and trash, but
here's a beanie.
That's what we needed, the tactical beanie.
Hey, don't be mad. Sometimes things just work out like that.
Hey, what are you smoking?
The fucking balls on EA to say something like that, man.
Must be smoking crack.
Quality crack is what's smoking. All right, okay. So
Let's settle in, I guess.
let's have a look. All right, so I've read what he said here, and I'm gonna have to skim through some of this stuff because it's Alpha. I love your passion.
So
your passion for this community is what makes me want to do content. We don't have all the time in the world though to read this.
Let me say,
I'm scrolling.
in the best room on the Discord, the bingeable shows and anime room.
Yeah.
He said, I think it was that. I got something to write in, but it's going to be a long one, even for like me and Diogo standards.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I might regret it, but I will read it. As in, we will read it. Just to be very apparent, not apparent, clear. What do you say when people can...
Transparent.
Transparent. Not apparent. God, learn English. That, like, I never said we'll read the whole thing out on the show. We will have to paraphrase it. It is very long.
Yes.
And detailed. It needs to be paraphrased. But, like, I do love how passionate the guys in our community are and that they have this and want to share it with us. But this has to be 1,000 words.
Exactly. It has to be. The
Actually,
guys used to
word count. Just I'm genuinely curious.
I will actually.
I'm genuinely curious, and this is not an attack at all. I'm genuinely curious because I do love how much people want to say to us.
Just so people can understand the magnitude of what's going on. I mean, you can all go over to Patreon if you're patrons to go see this.
Yeah.
And how do I find word count?
Oh, it's in here somewhere.
Edit.
I think if you just select everything, it gives you a word count somewhere.
Does it?
Yeah. It's here somewhere.
View, I think it's probably in here. Oh, show word count. Here we go. 1,316 words.
It's almost my dissertation.
Anyway, so what this is basically is his personal thoughts on CrossfireX, the latest Xbox exclusive game that came out.
Yeah. I did forget that's what this was about.
Broken in two parts.
Yeah.
It's a multiplayer and a campaign part. The multiplayer part is free and... there was some controversy with the campaign wasn't included with Game Pass, but then it came afterwards. I'm not really sure what happened there, so don't quote me on that part. However, it came out. Nobody reviewed it.
That was the most suspicious thing.
That was very suspicious. And it turns out that the reason for that is because Smilegate, the people that made it, didn't send out review copies to people and just let it come out.
But even still.
But that's very suspicious as well, because if you don't send review copies out to gaming outlets, the people that are going to shill you anyway, then there must be something really wrong with this.
It feels like you are just trying to make sure you capture those initial sales because you don't have shit reviews at the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm going to quickly have a look because I think by now there's probably people that have put some reviews up there for CrossfireX.
Anything yet?
CrossfireX. Why is
Still not a lot.
No review score yet. Oh, that's on Xbox One. Hold on a second. Xbox Series. Is there an Xbox Series? There has to be an Xbox Series X version.
You think so, right?
Okay, it's not popping up on here.
Well,
but
that's also a bad sign.
That's a very bad sign as well.
For it, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. I've seen a couple of reviews out there.
Yeah.
They're places like IGN, so take this with how you will and whatnot. People are giving this a 2 out of 10. A 2 out of 10. And
Would
that's
you play
not,
as Donald Trump? Like, if IGN hated it that bad, like, it's got to be awful.
Right. So people are saying that this is one of the worst FPSs they've ever played. In terms of multiplayer, there's tons of bugs. There's tons of... It's very unintuitive. There's a lot of, like, mistimed animations, all kinds of things. And as well as with the campaign, apparently all of that sort of tech stuff sort of goes over to it.
Right.
Not a lot of people are liking this. Even the biggest Xbox fans are saying, this is shit, I want a refund.
I have seen stills where, like, the person isn't moving. I know it's a still, but, like, they're not moving. They're not in any movement animation. And then, like, the entire page is tearing.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's a building that's on, like, 7 different levels. It looks rough,
Apparently it's really bad. Now... Alpha has a more positive outlook to this game. He's actually been enjoying some aspects of the game.
Okay.
He's saying that he's write a ton of stuff. He's tried out a lot of the game mode, so it's extensive stuff. He does like some of the things. He's got some gripes with it and things like that. For example, things like only being able to get like 1 grenade per life. Reflections sometimes appear blurry in graphics mode. There's no ray tracing in the game. Frame rate is sometimes a little bit slow. Don't start with the beginning weapons. The beginning weapons aren't very good, he's saying. The health and damage are unforgiving, etc. Stuff like that. So he's got normal gripes about it. He has a more far positive outlook, though, compared to everything else. His big issue, though, is... The one thing that people aren't mentioning, I guess because nobody wants to play the game, so I guess it's a null point, is that there's tons of microtransactions in this game. What? A game that should be full priced, but is available on Game Pass, so I guess they've taken that as, well, it's on Game Pass, so we're just going to shove tons of microtransactions in it. You got the game for free,
so, I did say that good games... on Game Pass would likely do this, right?
Yeah.
You get the game for free. The way they make their money, apart from the deal to get it on Game Pass, is that they get to monetize the users, and then Xbox are happy with that because they will take a cut. So, I mean, okay.
Here's what he says. He goes, now for the really bad. On my first play session, I saw the tabs at the top of the screen and thought, check them out. One of them said store, so naturally I accessed it and to find out how bad it could be. I was unprepared. There were 2 in-game currencies, Crossfire points and gold points. Gold points are seemingly fine, acting as something that you can earn via XP also in the game, and can be spent on weapon customizations and models and etc. stuff like that. The Battle Pass, this game has a Battle Pass as well as being full.
Awesome.
That's great. Battle Pass, which seems to progress through the time spent, gets you through a few extra weapon skins, some Crossfire points, some gold points and boosts, etc. and stuff like that. But the game also has Crossfire points earned by paying real money. They can be spent on skins, accessories, tags, on the black market. The black market sells things like daily weapons and 2 characters and stuff like that. The price of the Crossfire Ultimate package is $24.99.
Oof.
I'll report the items that you can see for yourself. And you can tell me this Ultimate package comes with a multiplayer, within the multiplayer, 2 short campaigns, a premium battle pass, S1 gun skin, etc., etc. And he goes over here. He goes, so they're letting people pay for in-game currency. Don't worry, it gets worse. And he names about like how much points you get for the money. There's an option for you to buy 54,000 gold points for £66.
That's a lot. By the way, can I just say I've always appreciated his delivery, his like written storytelling.
He's very good at storytelling. I like it. That's obviously why it goes on for so long, because you have to tell a story. But he goes, it's just crazy how this game is supposed to be like, without the inventation of Game Pass, this is supposed to be a full price game, and then there's all of these huge levels of microtransactions in the game. So Alpha's got his own opinion on the game. Everyone else seems to think this is a terrible game.
Yeah.
A terrible game plus egregious microtransactions in the game that aren't even justified by having a good multiplayer attached to it. What the fuck?
Don't you think it's funny, though, that of all the issues that this game has, the one thing that definitely works is the store?
Yeah. Right? It's like a Ubisoft title.
Right. Like
the one thing we've nailed is the store.
Yeah. Oh, you want to spend money? Oh, yeah.
We'll let you do that. We'll let you do that. That's really
no problems. We don't even need you to enter card information. We'll just take it straight from Xbox. You just click the button.
We have details already.
As easy as possible. So I mean,
That's the crazy part. He goes, I blame Smilegate for this and Microsoft, not Remedy, because Smilegate and Remedy were separated through the Smilegate multiplayer and Remedies that did the campaign. That's true. I mean,
okay,
they didn't do the multiplayer, so they don't have anything to do with the microtransactions and stuff like that. However, the campaign doesn't seem to be lighting the world on fire. It seems to be doing quite the opposite.
Yeah.
So that's something that they need to be accountable for. But man, this whole game just seems a mess.
Yeah.
And this was supposed to be the next big exclusive for Microsoft, for Xbox.
Was it this? What was the one they showed off at that thing before the gen release? There was that one that was made by one developer. It was an FPS. Yeah,
is
that
it Infinite Bright?
Yeah, Bright Memory. No,
Bright Memory.
Yeah, maybe.
Bright Memory Infinite. That was what it was called. Yes.
that worked. Looks better than this. Made by one dude.
Yeah.
Also, where is that?
It came out. It turned out the story wasn't so good.
It was made by one guy.
Exactly, but it was good looking,
Yeah.
and then it was very like futuristic type sort of. There was like a cyberpunk element to it and whatnot. That was good, but it turned out the story wasn't so good, so it got like a 70 or something like that on.
Oh no, a 70.
I know,
versus a 20.
I know, but if people were like, "Oh, it's the next big thing from Microsoft. This is going to be on Game Pass, guys," and then it turned out to be like a Game Pass game.
Yeah,
It's kind of forgettable.
And my real thing here is made by one guy
Yeah.
versus this. That's my real thing.
Yeah.
Not to potentially beef out the dude that made Bright Memory, but to say like, show what can be made and show what they do when all they're focused on is monetizing you. That's why DICE's Battlefield 2042 sucked, because it was all about getting, phoning it in and maybe making some money off the store.
Don't you mean because Halo Infinite?
I'm sorry, because of Halo Infinite, which also sucks. Well, sucked worse than it needed to because of its predatory microtransactions and no progression system without paying.
Yeah.
Like, no one's fooled by this stuff. I don't get how it's not panned out, where suits are just like, oh, that's your model. No, we know it doesn't work. Make a good game, and then like
it seems to never click with them.
The perfect example is Battlefront 2. If that had come out as it was when it ended its life, and then they said, okay, we're introducing a store because, it went down to a skeleton team. To get more guys on, to get more updates, we're introducing a store. If people like it and we're going to over-deliver on these skins, if it makes some money, we can afford to have more devs on it or just see how much money it makes. I would have bought that Darth Maul skin. I would have bought a bunch of skins because it was a really good game at the end.
Yeah.
That's how you do this. You make a good game, you make some amazing skins, and then say, yeah, here, look, you could buy these if you want. And people do it. I bought the DeLorean skin on frickin' Rocket League, which I don't play.
Yeah, I didn't play. I played that one day and I was like, cool. All right, see you later.
Same.
I just randomly looked up the Steam numbers for Halo Infinite. It's like 4,000 people playing currently, 17,000 over the peak of the last 24 hours. It's really not going well.
Just as you did that, what's Apex?
Oh, yep. Okay, let me just open that up again.
And the reason I want to compare those two is because Apex made by Respawn, who hadn't really done much since leaving like the Call of Duty space.
Yeah.
And then, wow,
265,000 as of 39 minutes ago, and 400,000 in the last 24 hours.
Again, in fairness, we are in the first week or two of a new season, but it's not. I mean, it's not massive, and I think it always drops to like its low peak is like its low peak.
Low point.
Its low point is like 55 to 100,000 concurrent players. So it's just these things show in it, and also the Apex store is I would say expensive, not overpriced, but like skins and stuff could be like.
That's what I heard, but especially, and that was the example that people used as well when people were complaining about, when the same people were complaining about Halo Infinite store.
Yeah,
there was the idiots that brought up, well, what about Apex Legends? They've been doing it for ages. It's like, we're not saying Apex Legends is good. You're saying it's good.
But also, you can progress to Apex for free. Yeah. It's only cosmetic stuff.
Yeah, there
is no benefit, or you're not harmed in any way not buying the battle pass or not buying skins. Now, there are some unlockable skins that you can only unlock if you've paid for the battle pass, but you can play the game as the exact as anyone else.
What do you think would what number does that concurrent player of Halo Infinite have to drop to for you to say this game is dead?
Oh, I think it died ages ago.
You think so?
Yeah, for me, I would have said 10,000.
I think
And that would have made it small niche.
That's the thing. If I would have said 10,000, then I would have gone to 5,000. It's already dropped below 5,000. Because the thing is that I want to get to the cutoff point. Because Dr. Disrespect said 3 months that the game would last. 3 months if it didn't have a battle royale. And
it's not the battle royale, motherfucker. I
the
fucking hate that.
It's not the battle royale. And the stupid thing is he's gonna use it as ammunition.
Yeah.
But I want to get to like March 11th and then go.
R.I.P. Let's just do the funeral in it.
We're sorry for doubting you, Dr. Disrespect. You clearly foresaw this.
The thing is, it's their decisions. If they changed it, it wouldn't be like this.
Yeah.
Because I think the multiplayer is really good and really fun, and I think people would have waited, and the campaign isn't so bad that I think if it just had a really good progression system, I really genuinely believe that. Just the progression system, change that, give people that feedback, like, you know, when you kill someone in like Modern Warfare 2 and you get the grung, give them that dopamine fix and help them like level up. And just do like a rolling prestige system like they've been doing for 20 years in these games. And boom, done. I think this game, just that, I reckon you could triple at least those numbers if you made that one change from the start. I think it would have dropped, but nowhere near that bad.
One final thing to end this whole podcast with in preparation for Horizon Forbidden West. The guys all very excited as well as am I for Horizon Forbidden West, and I told people to write in with their hype. Sean wrote in, he says, "I'm so fucking excited for Horizon, just to get back into the world that still has so much mystery about it. Gets me so excited. Also, they added flyable mounts, which we all wanted in Horizon Zero Dawn.
That is cool."
Tailgate says, "I
Did you
personally
see my tweet
no
about that."
Oh, but you replied to my one. This cracked me the fuck up. So if you guys don't know, I put up a tweet with Aloy jumping on the back of like a flying pterodactyl robot, and I was like, "This is never gonna get old. I can promise you now." And you was like,
"I was like, oh, Aloy be like, oh look, I'm flying." She just like, it bugs me.
That's the official review comment of Conbrosations.
It obviously is a joke in it, but like that is how I feel. That's the best example of my beef with Aloy is that like I doubt she'll go, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" Oh my god, it'd be like, "Oh cool, pterodactyl." Do you know what I mean?
I have to tell you, if the game happens, if it happens and the first time she jumps on a mountain, she isn't filled with wonder.
Oh my god, I'm flying.
I'm gonna think of you and how correct you are.
You're just gonna see that blank for that straight face emoji. Just
and I want everyone to please keep this in mind. I've seen it now. We've seen it now in your head where if it happens and she just jumps on and there's like an open shot and the music's nice and everything like that, but Aloy doesn't say anything, you're gonna be like, "Fuck, Sheps was right. I think Sheps was right. My god, he was right."
For the record, I really want to be wrong. I really genuinely want to be wrong, but I don't think I am.
We'll see.
We'll see. I really hope this game's amazing, though.
Hope so too. Tailgate writes in, he says, "I personally can't wait for Horizon Forbidden West. It's one of my most anticipated games of the year. I can't wait to learn more about the old ones and see the main cast again." I forgot to hit that button for this. And the graphics look incredible. It's actually hard for my brain to believe it's not pre-rendered CGI from all of the previews I've seen. In the past, the graphics, like the ones from Horizon Forbidden West, used to be just pre-rendered cutscenes, especially in previews. Cough, cough. Ubisoft E3 demos, Watch Dogs, AC Unity. That's right. That's fucking bastard.
Especially that bit where she's walking through the water.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, it looks really good.
And I've seen I watched the Digital Foundry video just to see the tech side of it, and they've that the initial showing that they did of it, and I said to you, "Man, the leaves aren't moving when she walks through them." And they updated that. They added like moving leaves based on her moving through it. And I was like, great addition, that's fantastic. They've also added deformation to grass when you're walking through it.
Oh, really?
So you've like now got trail marks where you walk through, and it's
Does
not
that make
just
you easier to track?
maybe.
That would be cool. I think that would be really cool.
And it's not just you; it's the animals in the world as well that make those things. It's like such a fucking good level of detail. I'm glad they.
I would love that, where like you're walking through a jungle or something, you come out, and as you walk across a field, you see a footprint of a thing you haven't seen before, and you see that it's going that way.
And you track it, and it's like, what the hell is this?
Right. Or to freaking avoid it the second time you play. You're like, wow, okay, I'm like level 3, and that is a...
It's a big round paw, like this big.
Right. Or really Godzilla, like you climb down into a thing, you go climb up the other side, as you're moving, you turn back, and it's a footprint. Very cool.
You're like, you're standing in it. What?
That needs to be the final boss, Robozilla.
Robozilla.
Yes.
Spoilers. How did you know about it? It's now people are going to not be able to play the game. That's what it is.
Ruined.
Virgin Diogo Hopper says, like Diogo, Horizon Forbidden West is at the top of my mind right now, and the reviews only add to the assurance that the game will be wild. Hard to know what else to add to that. We've seen basically everything they wanted to show us now, barring how to customize, how customization will truly work. That's right. And finally, Mikey T says, really looking forward to Horizon Forbidden West. Looking forward to jumping back into that world and seeing all the new machines and all that juicy lore. Can't wait. Yeah. I'm super excited.
I hope it's good.
Can't wait.
I hope it's good, because what I really want is for you to look at that mammoth statue thing and be like, yeah, I'm so glad I did this.
You mean other than like looking at my Cyberpunk one and just being filled with disappointment?
The worst thing about it is it's a good statue.
Yeah.
And I like it most because it's dynamic and it feels like it's moving, and because it basically feels like Akira.
Yeah.
And I'm a weeb. But other than that, I don't look at that and go and think about Cyberpunk. Like, I just don't think about Cyberpunk.
That's the odd thing about Cyberpunk. I look at stuff and I'm like, man, that still looks cool, you know? That still looks cool.
It's got a great aesthetic, and I have... One of the things I think that makes Cyberpunk such a bad game is it's so forgettable. That was my number one critique for it as well, wasn't it? That it was so easy to put down.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way.
Well, bro, that's everything that we've got to talk about here today.
That's it.
Hopefully next week we can talk all about Horizon Forbidden West. We'll all be in it and we'll be able to speak about it. For those of you guys that are on Patreon, you guys will get this today. But the next day, on Friday, on launch day, I will be streaming my unboxing of the regular edition and the first couple of hours of the game. And I'll be playing it again on Saturday and on Sunday for the people who watch this on the live feed. There'll be lots of streams over at twitch.tv/Conbrosations. Go check that out. It'll be a good fun time. Is there anything else you want to mention before we head out?
I don't think so. I would be curious, just as your mate, to know your feelings on it. So, like, after each session, if you're like, oh, this is so much better than the first one, or like, oh crap, I think you're right, because it's not gonna. I'm still gonna play it. Yeah. Because I need ammunition to prove I was right against Tyler.
Yes.
You know?
That's the thing. I want to have, hopefully, if they're down for it.
If it's dog shit, I'm going to play even more of it.
I want to have a conversation with them all just to, like, get us all together. And, like, I'll be like, I'm your bro. I'm backing you up, bruv. Aloy is a fucking little bitch. She had no emotions whatsoever. And, you know, women, fuck them.
Exactly. Honestly, I think it's a win-win-win for me. Because if it's a good game, we get a good game. Yeah. Win. If it's dog shit, I win because I get to say I was right. And if it's good, the other win is then, and you know, if I say, okay, it made all the improvements I wanted, then when all those douchebags that thought they were right go back and play Horizon Zero Fun, they're going to be like, oh shit.
She had no fucking...
She really doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, this is so...
I feel like I've stacked the deck here. I can only win. There is no bad outcome for me. None.
I just looked on OpenCritic and it's got the score there for CrossfireX, 41.
Oof, that's not a 2 out of 10, but that is rough.
Yeah, IGN gave it a 2 out of 10, but there were some people like Go connected.
Also, do you think like they gave it a 2 out of 10 because like they played the first 5 minutes of it and found it boring?
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
It's possible because these reviewers, you know what they're like. But I have to say, the only people on there that... So IGN is the only name that I know on there. Every other one just seems to be random websites and stuff like that. And there's only 11 reviews.
That's not very many.
And also, there's 2 reviews from the same IGN reviewer, and they're both different scores.
What?
There's a 2 out of 10 from IGN, Travis Northup.
Yeah.
And then Travis Northup of IGN, 3 out of 10.
That's unusual.
What?
That's very weird.
That's
Look,
so
in
dumb.
summary, you can't trust these guys,
No.
okay? That's the real thing. But you can trust me when I say Sifu's no good. It's not a tender story.
Yeah.
But I'm still really proud of this article, 7 out of 10.
not looking. If you're looking for a loving story,
Right.
I'm not going to find it here.
What a douchebag. What an idiot. What an idiot.
All right,
What freaking
guys.
maroon.
We'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for joining us for another episode. Thank you for all your support recently. It's all been doing good.
Yeah.
The YouTube numbers are looking nice. Podcast stuff and whatnot.
we're having-
Patreons are going great. Thank you all for being so awesome.
Yeah, boy.
We'll catch you all in the next one.
Catch you in the next one.
I don't have anything this time. Promise I'm not going to do anything this time. I promise.
Oh, no. Oh, no, don't do it. I was genuinely like, what's he got? What's down on the other side of the... What's on the other side of the chair?